That's pretty cool.
You're
I heard it come up, but I
hilarious.
didn't see it on the screen, so
All right, we've got. Oh, you didn't? Okay.
I did not.
So we are 20 seconds out, folks. Just a heads up there.
Cool
And
beans.
I do have everything. Don't you dare piss me off right now, you freaking machine. Okay, there we
I
go.
thought you were talking to Bryan. I'm like, Bryan, don't say cool beans. Apparently, gosh.
5
Apparently
seconds.
that's like major no, don't do that.
5 seconds.
Turn your phone down, Erica.
Welcome to the breakdown, everybody. This is Aaron Barker, broadcasting from an undisclosed location deep behind enemy lines, back from vacation today and ready to roll with all kinds of stuff. It's going to be, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a cluster today. It's almost, you're going to feel like you're listening to Off Track Syndicate. It's going to be that bad. So just thank you all very much for joining us. Those who are already in the chat, you can join us on Facebook, YouTube, and also on Bryan and Erica's personal pages, and broadcasting live over on the Crusade channel, crusadechannel.com, live radio, the way it should be, and all of our normal places, Mojo 50 as well. We got a lot of stuff we're going to get into today. We're going to be talking a little bit about my cruise, how much I hate the TSA, tipping machines now, and various other topics. And of course, with me, as always, misinformation herself, Erica. Good morning.
Good morning.
And the bearded pastor, Bryan Jackson, the only bearded pastor in the world, the only pastor that exists on this planet that has a beard, the man who started the trend himself, the bearded pastor, Bryan Jackson.
Shall I stand up and take a bow?
Not with your beard.
No, I'd probably trip over my beard if it was
Actually,
any longer.
just
Yeah.
your beard. I just want your beard on the show today, not you. I just want your beard's commentary.
You know, that's
Oh,
fine.
gosh.
Let me ask. It says it refuses to make an appearance without proper
The
authority.
Keebler elves living in Bryan's beard.
That's
And
right.
the beard segment is born. Oh, no.
All right. So, yeah, well, but hey, how y'all doing? Did you enjoy your week off last week?
We did it. I enjoyed my week off last week. I'll be honest with you, I kind of went through some breakdown withdrawal though.
Yeah, I did as well.
I didn't feel like it was a break. I just have too much going on.
Okay.
I don't actually think I got to sleep in, which would have been the benefit. But it's
You
okay.
didn't or did get to sleep in?
I did not.
I did not get to sleep in either, so
No.
I feel bad.
Oh, you know what? Just so you all know, around last Saturday around this time, we were on a cruise day on our way back. So we were ending the cruise, and I think we kind of slept in. I think we got up about 9 o'clock. What threw me off on the cruise, though, and I'll be throwing stuff in. I'm not going to give you an entire show about it, but I will be talking about some things we did there. But the thing that threw me off was when we changed time zones as we were going on the ship down to Honduras was the first stop, and we woke up the next day, and some of our phones changed to the correct time. Some of our phones didn't change. Then you had to figure out ship time, and then you had to figure out when do I have to come back from the excursion, or when do I have to come back from the port, because if you're not on the ship when it leaves, you're there in whatever country that they leave you in. So we're all like, what time is ship time? What time is the phone? Coordinate your time now. But yeah, so it was last week. It was like that, but really enjoyable. I had a great time on the cruise. Enjoyed hanging out with the family for an entire week. Did a lot of fun stuff, and really just a really great time. And I'm telling you what, I think I'm cruise spoiled now. I'm vacation spoiled, because like it was awesome. I mean, I love the water, and I love being out in the water. I want a boat now. I've wanted a boat for years, but being on a cruise has just convinced me that this man needs a boat. But
you know what we need to do, Aaron, is we need to all go in together and buy a boat. We'll store it down here at Kentucky Lake.
At your northern Kentucky home.
No, not my northern Kentucky home. I'm talking about my western Kentucky home.
Yeah.
We can store it here at the Kentucky Lake, and we can actually do live shows from Kentucky Dam.
Whoa, Kentucky Dam. Actually, that would be a great name for a show.
I know,
You're
right?
now listening to Kentucky Damn. Yeah.
Anyways,
I always love those plans when people are like, hey, we should all go in together and buy this and keep it at my house. Like, why do we gotta keep it
no,
at
it's 20 minutes away from my
Like,
house. It's not
no.
my house. It's
but
closer
it's
to me
still
than you
5
all.
hours away from mine and like 20 hours away from Erica's, something like
Yeah.
that.
Plus, I would be like,
it's a
I love the
minor
water,
thing.
right? But I love the water. Small
I
craft.
love the water.
Small craft, okay? Like I literally spend half my life on the beach, but let's be honest, I don't have gills, and I don't want to be out there. So, you know, I don't really want to go in on the boat.
Well,
All right.
and as we talk, there's a boat just past the road outside. No, I want a pontoon boat. That's what I really, really want.
Yeah, I'll handle the foghorn. I can take care of that early in the morning. So, all right, we got some people in the chat as well hanging out with us. Jay May, good morning. We missed you as well. Got some folks that are going to be hanging out with us over there. Don't forget, you can leave your sound off by going to breakdradio.com. Click on the mic in the bottom right-hand corner. We'll play it on the show and make you famous. You're looking for your 15 minutes of fame. We'll give you 15 seconds or so of
It's
fame.
infamy.
We can
Yes.
at
We'll
least
make you
continue for
infamous.
15 minutes.
We'll make you infamous. And I'll have to make my joke I made at the beginning later on when other people join. That way they can hear the joke I made. But anyway, so this is, now you all know that I am a Taco Bell fiend. I absolutely love it. Everybody else hates it, that I love Taco Bell so much. But there was this guy who evidently is a prankster, right? And oh, by the way, let me do I've been out of this. It's been 2 weeks. I mean, let's chum the waters. All right. Let's throw out some of that delicious chum and bring all the sharks to talk about these great discussions and viral news stories that are happening in the great wide world that we are in. And I'll talk about my vacation resolutions. I always come back from vacation with resolutions. Anyway, this guy is a TikToker, and he evidently goes around to these different restaurants and does these pranks and upsets people and does all kinds of annoying things, and it's for views, obviously whatever gets the views. Well, one Taco Bell worker recognized this guy and decided to have a little bit of a payback with him. So here is this video of this gentleman going through a drive-thru and being recognized.
Is that TikTok guy with that again?
Oh,
Oh my gosh, man, that hit right there. So for those of you who are listening and not watching, this guy is sitting at the drive-thru, and you can see from the inside of the car over the steering wheel past the guy's face, and you can see the drive-thru worker. And the drive-thru worker at Taco Bell recognizes this dude and says, hey, you're that guy with the TikTok stuff again. And he's like, yeah, her. And the dude, the Taco Bell worker, takes a full drink. I don't know if it looks like one of those iced coffees. But anyway, takes the full drink and throws it, and it smacks the guy right in the face and explodes all over the car.
Wow.
And coffee
in the car.
Yeah, in the car, like all over in the car, all over the place. And then the drive-thru worker kind of chuckles and like handing the card back, I mean, I don't know if this was staged or what, but I honestly don't even know if the Taco Bell worker is still employed after this, because it hit like 3 million views almost instantly. It went viral like crazy.
He reared back to throw that. Like that wasn't, he didn't toss the drink at him.
No, he didn't toss the drink. That was a full on.
Yeah, that was a fast pitch.
Yeah.
The dude in the drive-thru.
To the head.
Yeah, but I mean, it's point blank too. Like the guy in the drive-thru looks like Bam Bam Bigelow, and he just
he's just Bam Bam Bigelow.
Like he chucks that thing from back behind his shoulder, man. And I'm like, dude, it was crazy. But I mean, like some people are like, he got a taste of his own medicine, and I'm like, daggone, that's for a couple of chuckles and some laughs. This guy gets slammed in the face with something. I don't know. I mean, but it is funny to see it because the guy's reaction. I mean, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. But I gotta watch. I would
have been laughing if I was in the car behind him and I saw that. That would have been, but I wouldn't have known who it was. I would have been like, "Whoa, I don't know if I want to pull up here."
Yeah,
it's like context. It's context here, Like, why is this Taco Bell worker trying to assassinate people with soda?
Look at the smile on the guy's face in the window.
Death by fountain drink.
I mean, I'm gonna watch it again.
Is that TikTok guy with that again.
Anyway, that was that's one of
I
those.
love his nervous laughter when he sees a guy starting to rear back. He's like,
I feel like if you're working at Taco Bell and that's where you want to go with it, you can get a job at any other fast food place probably.
Well,
within a
you
week.
sure hope so, anyways.
I'm sure you could.
You're famous. We got the guy that threw the drink at the Taco Bell.
Yeah, but with all like these Twitter wars and these social media wars with like Wendy's and all these joints trying to be really edgy, you think that this would be one of the things they're like, oh yeah, oh this guy, that's what he does with these viral TikTok people. I mean, it's insane. But anyway, just so since we're on the Taco Bell story, they are bringing back a fan favorite from the 70s. I didn't eat Taco Bell back in the 70s, but it looks like
That's
they're
because
bringing
you weren't
back
born
the
yet.
Enchilito. I wasn't born. I was born in the 80s. I'm a senior millennial right here, gentlemen and ladies. A senior millennial. They're bringing back the Enchilito. It's a vintage Taco Bell item that dates all the way back to the 70s. Features a soft floured tortilla filled with seasoned beef, beans, and diced onions. Before it's rolled up and topped with red sauce and shredded cheddar cheese. It was discontinued in 2013, and fans have been patiently awaiting its triumphant return. That's how Yahoo Live describes this. They're patiently waiting its triumphant like when the Enchilito comes in, it's going to be riding in on the back of a horse with a big entourage behind it, celebrating its arrival. It's
wearing a big t-shirt with a D on it for the grade of meat that you're about to eat.
Taco Bell doesn't have real meat.
Oh man, hey, they are vegan friendly on their beans though.
I think they're vegan friendly on their meat too. Aaron, so let me tell a real quick story about Taco Bell. Aaron convinced me one morning. I think we were getting ready to do the breakdown. He convinced me. He's like, "Oh, you got to try their breakfast." Okay. Now, two things I do not put together is Taco Bell and breakfast.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing, dude.
No, it's not.
Life.
So he brings in this bag of breakfast. I've never had bubble gut so bad, like a bag, like this. He just stopped at Taco Bell.
I'm sorry, what?
I told him, I'm like, dude, I don't know if I'm not familiar with bubble gut. From the first or second bite, I'm like, oh, this is not going to be good. And I told him, I said, I will never eat breakfast at Taco Bell again, ever, ever, ever. I mean,
just don't eat Taco Bell. It's not food.
I have to admit, Taco Bell does have it's a good late night crave fix if if there's nothing else open. But
oh my God,
man,
public service announcement. Anyone listening, do not take food or eating advice from Bryan. We already know he doesn't even cook in his own home.
Oh boy,
I do cook in my own home. I've made breakfast and lunch like 4 times this week. Hush.
I'm glad that I'm glad that somebody's bagging on him about that because he's over here like Aaron suggested Taco Bell and Erica slams Bryan for not cooking in his own home. That's awesome.
I can't help it that I don't have proper cooking facilities. Okay.
Oh my God.
You have a kitchen, right?
I don't have a working stove, brother.
Okay. Is it gas or electric? What are we talking about here?
It's electric. I've got a stove top, but I don't have an oven or anything like that.
Okay. Next time I pull a stove out of a rental, I'm just gonna ship it.
But hold on a second. Didn't your folks buy you a bunch of stuff to cook from your home?
No.
I thought they bought you like a grill and
he's got a grill. He's got a sous vide or something like that. Don't you have an air fryer?
I have a really cool air fryer. Yes.
You have a wok, right? You got a wok?
I do not have a wok.
Yeah, well, you just use everything. Just use a wok.
You have no idea what a wok really is, do you?
It's the big circular, like real deep frying dish that's used for Chinese cooking.
I know. I'm just messing with you. So one of our faithful listeners.
Didn't think I knew what a wok was.
Hang on. One of our faithful listeners just sent me a private message, Aaron. You're gonna love this.
Private. You're about to read it.
No. It's I'm sorry. He sent me a separate message. So shout out to Clay Hall. I think he's watching somewhere today. But he sent me a message that says Taco Tuesday tussle. This is from the local Channel 6 down here. It says Taco Bell wants U.S. regulators to cancel Taco John's 30-plus year trademark on the phrase Taco Tuesday. In response, Taco John has announced that every day is now Taco Tuesday to deal all the with a special deal all the way through May 31st.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand
taco
that. That is a
restaurants are
big battle.
fighting.
That is a big battle right now, but I don't think anyone trademarked it. It's not copyrighted.
How can
Taco
you trademark
Tuesday,
that? Yeah.
you can't. And it means different things.
Well, I'm just telling you what I've heard the tussle back and forth, and apparently it's actually made the news now. So that is CBS affiliate, which is the one with the Peacock, or which one
That's
is
NBC.
NBC? So NBC
You
affiliate.
tell Brian, gosh, get your
I don't
logos
watch
together.
I don't watch standard
Does it
TV
even
like
have
you
a
other
Peacock
peasants. Come
logo
on.
anymore?
I don't watch television. I'm too busy spending time in prayer and Bible study, preparing for sermons.
Well,
I didn't even know they were still using the Peacock, so there you go.
Yeah, they're still using the Peacock. Y'all got to. I mean, if we cover viral stuff, you all got to get there with me.
There's no viral stuff on NBC. Let's be clear. Don't
You got
get
to
it
know
twisted.
logos, though. There's viral stuff on NBC. There's viral stuff on ABC. We're going to be talking about Whoopi, something that she said.
Well, ABC just actually says
That's
ABC.
not viral.
I mean,
That's virus.
That's not a big deal.
A shout out as well to a new listener here from the Silver Wolf in Independence, Donna. She actually knows my cousin Liz, who does Lives Loves Everything. So if you're on Facebook and you want to find that, go search for the Silver Wolf and Liz Loves Everything. My cousin does these really cool ethereal type art pieces. And she hooked up with Donna from the Silver Wolf. And so Donna's joining us on the show today. Really happy about that. Good morning, Donna. And
Hey, Donna.
thank you very much.
What's up,
for joining
Donna?
us. So, but anyway, moving on. These I've been trying to find this video. It's ridiculous that I can't find it. I feel like a failed researcher. But I tried to find this video. All these kids are doing these TikTok challenges and these social media challenges, right? And one of these is over in England. This guy, a TikTok prankster, has been charged after his video showing he and his friends just walking into people's houses, random people's houses, and walking in, videoing everything, sitting down and disturbing the homeowners. He's actually going to appear in court. Bakari Bronze Ogaro, he's 18, will appear in custody at Thames Magistrates Court on Wednesday, May 24th, after being charged. That was actually this past Wednesday, with a community protection notice. I'm wondering here if maybe this is it right here. We can find the video.
In the South, that's a good way to get shot.
Yeah, not just in the South, but there's a lot of places where that's a good way to get shot. Are you kidding me?
Here we go. This is it right here. I want to try to get the volume up on this as well. They just walk up to these homes and just go right in.
What?
Yeah, I don't know why I can't get sound on this. But yeah, it's like, and here's the homeowner. They're like, what are you doing? What are you doing? I don't know why I can't get sound here for some reason. But yeah, they just walk in. They're like, oh, hey, let's look over here. Let's look over there. Oh my gosh. I mean, could you imagine and he just sits down and he's filming himself just sitting down and then watching the homeowner. And the guy's like, get out of the house. I mean, like, and you got to think, I wish we could hear this because it's probably with that nice British accent as well, where you think somebody's mad, but even if they're mad, they still sound really nice and classy. Like, sorry, chaps, you can't be in my home right now. I'm going to have to ask you to leave.
Gone from me.
Leave my home, sir. You have no right to be here. And there are people like, oh, thank you very much for
I'm sorry, that is not how that event would go down in my home.
No, it's not. I was thinking about that the other night when I saw this on TV. I was like, what in the world? What would my reaction be?
Nope,
if this cat
no
walked
way.
into my house.
I'm announcing from downstairs that I am armed, and you have a choice to walk out the door before I walk up the stairs. Period. I'll announce it. I'll give you a chance.
I don't think anybody could blame you for that.
And then I might start firing right through the ceiling. So don't test me.
Randomly firing.
Said, and it's over.
Right.
Yeah, that's but anyway, so all these TikTok pranksters are doing this kind of stupid stuff. I think we covered a story a few weeks ago about a young man in Ohio who was doing a TikTok challenge, and he took a bunch of cold medicine. And because you were supposed to take a bunch of cold medicine, you're supposed to find just like over-the-counter drugs and take them, and it was supposed to get you stoned or high, and your friends were supposed to film the reaction. it may have been an after show I was covering this, but the young man, he was like 15. He goes and he takes a bunch of these cold medicine pills, and he was being filmed while he did it, and ended up almost immediately going into convulsions. And then they rushed him to the hospital, and he ended up being pronounced brain dead because of the stuff that they're seeing on social media and all of the pranks and things like that.
I mean,
Donna's,
can we
go
say
ahead.
that any of that is user error?
Uh,
Can we blame any of it? Because I can. I just don't know how other people feel about it. But if you're dumb enough
I think
to
it's
take that challenge,
yeah.
I mean, there's some sort of Darwinism that's at play here that we need to at least acknowledge. Like, otherwise, everybody would do it. You got to be a special kind of stupid to take some of those challenges.
Well, I remember, like, it wasn't as bad as this, but back in the day, I remember we used to do, of course, it was, you didn't have to do the thumb thing, but you took your thumb and you put it in your mouth, and then you just like blew all the pressure to your face, and you ended up forced you to pass out is what it did. And, but we did.
No, we didn't do that.
Well, you didn't do, I did it one time on the bus. I passed out. I woke up to some guy stomping on me. I hated that kid.
I mean, lesson learned, I hope. Don't do stupid shit.
It was. I never made myself pass out again on the bus.
Oh, and in other news, dun, dun,
dun. So here we go. Now, this is another thing, a kind of freaky, man. Do you have a thing about eyes? Anybody have a thing? A friend of ours has this weird thing about eyeballs. Like, she can't see, close up of eyeballs. She has a problem going to the eye doctor. Here's the story. Well, good, because this story, there's a recalled contaminated eye drops that are linked to bacteria, which have led to to deaths, and not only deaths, but the loss of sight and your full eyeball.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, okay.
So evidently, the Center for Disease Controls has issued a multi-state or a recall because of a multi-state outbreak of drug-resistant bacteria strain led to eye drops. They warned patients and clinicians to stop using EzraCare and Delsum Pharma's artificial tears after one death from an infection and reactions in dozens of patients. Some who, and I guess they had to put this in here, but some who experienced permanent eye loss, not eyesight. Like, your eyeball is gone.
Yeah, your eye socket is empty. You're now wearing a patch.
Your eyeball gone. Yeah, like you're a pirate now.
You have the glass eyeball that becomes your pieces of 8.
Your what? It becomes what?
Eyeball?
Your pieces of 8. That's one of the things that you remember watching the pirate lords all get together and have to have the pieces of 8, and the black pearl pieces of 8 is the eyeball.
I didn't know that, Brian. Thanks for filling me. Gonna get myself a hook hand and a wooden leg. Yeah, but anyway, so that if you're using eye drops out there now, I saw this and I sent it to a friend of mine because he constantly uses eye drops, and I'm like, dude, I don't know what kind you use, but your eyeball could really be in danger. Really
be in danger quickly. Yes.
I mean, I did look at what it was. I don't use artificial tears, but I do use like allergy drops for my eyes because so I checked. I'm like, let me look.
I mean, it's worth it's worth looking. Like, if somebody does that, like if there's a recall, like E. coli, your guts are bleeding and exploding from your bottom. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna go check the lettuce in the fridge.
What's the list
check the lettuce in the fridge.
Okay, that's a lie. I don't have lettuce in my fridge. Come on.
Neither does Brian.
I don't even think Brian has a working fridge. He has a primitive one-room log cabin with dirt floors.
I'll have I have a fridge. I have a freezer. I have plenty of meat. I have food. I just don't have any place to cook it.
I think you've taken a vow of poverty. Why do you buy food if you don't have a place to cook it? Like, I've got these great steaks, but I got no place to cook them.
Well,
wait, you don't have to take a vow of poverty?
No, I do not have to take a vow of poverty.
Oh, man, I did not know that.
I'm not a Catholic
the
priest. I don't wear the collar.
Are now endless in my mind.
Especially Pentecostal pastors. Oh my gosh, they can't take a vow of poverty. That's
hey.
God, I didn't know that we could market you as a commodity and actually make money with the beard. This is a whole new ball game.
Why do you think I'm on the breakdown? I'm hoping this turns into some kind of great cash cow.
I don't know. You should probably fire me.
I'm like, now I'm thinking, how could we market Brian?
Oh, are you kidding? We can have breakdown mugs that have the bearded
Just
pastor
the
outline on
beard.
it.
The beard is enough,
the
man.
beard.
Do you
We
not watch the comments, dude?
We should do that and have like your hairstyle, Erica, like
And
just the silhouette
Brian's
of your hair,
beard.
Brian's beard, and just like a big blob for
No,
mine.
no, and you're
No,
the Hawaiian flowery shirt.
Hey man, I love my Hawaiian shirts. My
I
wife
know,
hooked me
right?
up
I
with
love them
Hawaiian
too, but
shirts.
that would be like everything goes on there.
Yeah, Donna's telling you to get yourself a crock pot too, Brian.
I've got one.
Also, yeah, hey, look at that.
No excuses then. God.
Well, it's me. I can't cook anything, but I've got everything.
I don't cook at the house. Seriously.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to be talking about, well, somebody who got pretty nasty on an airplane, plus tipping machines at the self-checkout. You got to be kidding me.
Asking the questions that get you kicked out of Bible studies and sent to therapy.
You're listening to The Breakdown.
Hi, it's Doc Thompson for Matthew 25 Ministries. Matthew 25 Ministries is one of the few charities I'll actually endorse because I know them. I've worked with them, and I know almost all of the money that you donate goes to help people. Go to m25m.org, m25m.org.
Fast Track Student Loans can get your student loans out of default, stop any wage garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and get your student loan payments down to as little as $25 a month based on what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395.
Why have thousands of aspiring authors teamed up with Christian Faith Publishing to publish their book? Because Christian Faith Publishing is an author-friendly publisher who understands that your labor is more than just a book. We provide authors freedom and flexibility throughout the publishing process, professional book editing, award-winning design, and some of the highest royalty structures in the publishing industry. And as always, you will retain 100% of the rights to your book.
I was looking to find a company that I could trust, one that assisted in the editing process completely.
The most important qualities that I was looking for was a publisher who was honest and upfront, no hidden costs or fees, and owning the rights to my own work.
Christian Faith Publishing will publish, market, and sell your books in all major bookstores, online booksellers, as well as specialty Christian bookstores. Call for your free author submission kit.
800-978-4812. 800-978-4812. 800-978-4812. That's 800-978-4812.
Oh, hi. Didn't see you there. I was busy eating this delicious meal from preparewithmojo50.com. You look hungry. Do you want some? Of course you do. Get your own. You can go to preparewithmojo50.com. That's preparewithmojo50.com. You can't have mine.
Welcome back. Welcome back to the Breakdown, everybody. Thanks for staying with us during that break. Sorry about that. I had a little bit of mic problems there. Anyway, thanks for joining us today. How do I get that off the screen so y'all can see our beautiful faces? Oh, there's Erica. Erica's back. Brian has still disappeared. He's arguing with his beard off camera or something. I don't know. Anyway, don't forget, you can also check us out at crusadechannel.com. Live radio the way that it should be, crusadechannel.com. Click on the chat room and see how you can join the chat there. You can also hang out with us on Facebook and YouTube. And don't forget to leave your sound off by clicking on the mic in the bottom right-hand corner. Let's see here. So, when we booked the cruise, you could, like, you have your package that you purchase, like your cruise trip thing. Then you can add additional things on there. Like you can add a soda package so that you can get soda. Now you can, when you buy it, you get all you can eat food. It's most restaurants there's.
You get soda?
Yeah, but there's packages where you can pay for it. It gives you like coffee and soda, coffee, soda, water, coffee, liquor. Like it all depends on how you want to customize what your drink package is.
Right. And like the soda package actually was not that bad, especially considering that you could go to any bar in the place and order
anywhere,
soda. Right. And, because there was like this big atrium where they did a lot of live entertainment and stuff that the family partook of. We could probably post some videos of that on the socials, but you could get a soda. You can ask them. And they had they had Fanta orange soda.
Oh
Now,
my God.
aside from Livewire Mountain Dew, Fanta orange soda is the absolute best. I know I sound like a 5-year-old.
No, it's just
Nope.
I mean, so far that's the most excited you've been, other than talking about liking being on the water, is about the Fanta.
Oh,
So I'm like,
it was great.
I mean, don't they have that in your local store?
Well, they do, but this is all you can drink Fanta soda. Like, I was like, do you have orange soda? They're like, Fanta. Now, nobody spoke English. They knew exactly what was on the menu. If you said anything like different from the menu, it was rough. Like I ordered an orange soda, no ice. I was like, I'll take an orange soda, no ice. The waiter had to go get a manager and bring her back. She's like, you want a mimosa? And I'm like, no, I don't want a mimosa. I want an orange soda.
Well, yeah, go ahead and put the mimosa on there, but
Well, the thing is, like, if you ordered the drink package, you have the soda package and then the drink package with the alcohol, it was like, I think it was somewhere upwards of $2,000 to $2,500 plus a tip. Like they put a gratuity on there. So it could have been total with the tip and the package for a week. It could have been somewhere around like $2,500. And they automatically included the tip on there. Now my wife and I only did one excursion. When we got to Cozumel, we went off to a private beach, just the two of us. We spent about 5 hours together. It was a 45-minute catamaran trip, in the water. It was amazing. We got to the beach, got us some authentic tacos they came from Cozumel, so I'm calling them authentic. We got some tacos and then we just hung out in the Gulf. Water's so clear you could see 5-6 feet down to the bottom. It was gorgeous. Well, there we did have it was an all-inclusive open bar, and it was like mixed drinks. Like you had margaritas, rum punch, tequila sunrises, some beer. I didn't want to drink beer because, I get all bloated. Like y'all need to know that. But I did find out. I ordered some tequila sunrises, and then I was like, can you make those doubles? And the guy was like, see, and then and I was like double fisting, double tequila sunrises.
Yep.
And just as I will leave it at this, there was an interesting boat trip home. It was like, I didn't think I was going to make it on the boat trip, but anyway, it was still gorgeous. Had a great time.
By the way, did you see the horizon?
Yeah, I did.
Was it flat?
Oh, Bryan. Oh, man alive.
Wow. That's where you decided to go with this? I mean,
thought it was funny.
Let's not talk about that today. Let's talk. So what I'm saying though is like the tips were all inclusive.
Just zip right past that, Aaron.
I saw his photos. I saw you ask him that the second he got on the boat, and I saw the picture, and I was like, I'm not even going there. Did you see his
father-in-law's comment?
No, I didn't want to read it because I was trying to prevent myself from commenting.
Well, but it's kind of funny when you look at a horizontal line and people are like, look at that curve. Like, that's not a curve. I'm sorry, but that's not a curve. Even if the world is like, okay, I say even if the world is a globe, you can't see the curve from out.
The Terminator says that it's not biblical.
Pause the game here. Did you watch the Terminator yet? Okay, then you're not allowed to make Terminator references. By the way, Schwarzenegger has a new series, like a TV series on Netflix.
I did hear an interesting Terminator-esque type of story that I think you'll like.
Well, let's cover that in a little bit because I'm going to get to this one story here. So
go for it.
I say all that, of course, I'm trying to use life experience, but all the tips were included. So we went to a premium restaurant, which I'm still paying for that. And it was that they included a 20% gratuity on there that automatically had the tip. You didn't have to tip any of the waiters. I didn't tip any of the waiters. People are doing it. I didn't see where they were keeping their money. But now when you go through the self-checkout line, at stores, it's now asking you if you want to leave a tip.
Absolutely not.
Self-checkout machines want you to tip them for all that they do. Businesses are starting to introduce new options for tipping at self-checkout machines, putting even more pressure on customers amid rising inflation costs. Despite having zero interaction with employees during transactions, self-checkout machines at places such as coffee shops, bakeries, airports, and sports stadiums are giving customers the option to leave a typical 20% tip, according to a report from Wall Street Journal. I think I know why they're doing this. However, if I'm at Walmart, which I rarely go, if I'm there, there's an emergency. But you go there, they have 50 checkout lines and 400 people in line for 5 self-checkout machines.
Yep.
And then you want me to tip that? Okay, you want me to tip? I'll tip myself for actually coming here to this god awful store and actually spending my money here. But I people evidently are having a lot of emotional distress on it. It says that let me see here. It says researchers claim this is a way for companies to put the reasonability of paying employees on the customer rather than increasing employee salaries themselves. And it says just the prompt in general is a bit of emotional blackmail, Garrett B. Miller, 26, who works in public relations in Manhattan, told the Wall Street Journal after he was asked to add a 10% to 20% tip on his $6 bottle at an airport self-checkout machine. And that is true. I paid $6.89 for a liter of water at the airport. He said many companies told the Journal that these tipping prompts are completely optional and the extra gratuity is split between all the employees. See, I think that it's because with the rise of all of the kiosks, the self-checkout machines, that it's removing people having that personal interaction with folks. So it's removing their ability to have a tip. But here's the thing. When is the last time you ever tipped a cashier?
Never.
Exactly.
Never. And you're not even allowed to tip the bag boys if they are forced to take your groceries out to the car. They're not even allowed to take those. There's absolutely no way, unless I'm giving that tip to myself, where I am walking back in and because I did it all myself, I'll tip myself. Do I get a break for not making you do it?
Yeah, for real. You know, I
That's
used
what
to,
I'm doing. There's no way. I don't do it on DoorDash. I don't do it anywhere. I don't do that anywhere where they just suggest I tip it. Absolutely not.
oh, well, there, on DoorDash and Hub, Grubhub and all those places.
No,
They
on the
actually,
restaurants, when I'm ordering with DoorDash, sometimes when you're on the restaurant page, it asks you if you want to add a tip for the restaurant. It does not go to the driver. It's a restaurant tip. And my answer is absolutely not. No.
are you serious? Like
Yeah,
when you just order
Panera does
direct
it.
from a restaurant?
Yes, Panera Bread does it.
Real?
I think Buffalo Wild Wings does it. Now you know where I eat. But
Yeah, this is
like I'm just telling you, they do.
Here
They
you go,
give you
Aaron.
the
Go ahead.
option to tip, and I don't do it. I'm not doing it.
So what I get frustrated with is the fact that everybody everywhere thinks that they need a tip and they're aggressive about it. Like when we got off the bus, so we arrived in Fort Lauderdale, we got on a bus that transported us about 40 minutes to Miami. We got off the bus at Miami, and then that's where we got that was the port where we were actually able to embark, whatever, the embarkation station. Anyway, as soon as I got off the bus, the guy was like, "You got a tip for me?" And I'm like, my father-in-law took care of it. He goes, "Who's your father-in-law?" And I'm like, what's up with the third degree here?
Right?
Like, I'm trying to get out of a tip. I mean, I'm that cheap. I would get out of a tip, but come on, man. I mean, when we got the bags off the bus, there was another guy who was that was supposed to tell us where to go, and they were taking our bags and putting them on the ship. Now, and he was like, "You have a tip for me and my team?" Now, I have no problem with tipping people like that because they are handling the luggage and doing it. I understand, but they're like, "You got a tip for me and my team?" Like, before I do anything, I have to pay you.
No, I agree with Drew. Do you see Drew's comment in the chat? Kind of like when you go to pick up your pizza. Like the legit job is for you to make the pizza. Right. It's his job to carry your bags.
Yeah.
He's no.
Well, I think
I mean, I understand that you want to give him a little bit of tip, but I do it because I want to see my bag again.
I think at like pizza joints, when you go to pick up your
That's
pizza,
almost like blackmail, though, right?
They share the same.
Yes.
Well, it is because in Grubhub, or those food apps, it's like, hey, leave a little bit of a tip. Your food will get there faster.
Yes.
Wait, are you extorting me for more money? Are you
Yes.
blackmailing me for my food?
Yes.
I mean, the tip is supposed to be after the service is rendered. I pay you because of your good service. And that supposedly keeps them working well to make you happy. Right.
Right.
But if I tip you before, you're like, hey, I'll just toss your food to your front door like a newspaper.
I've complained about Instacart orders before, and not for myself. I'm talking about for the business where you're ordering something for a meeting, and I'm like, oh, you want a fruit? Can I have a fruit bowl? That'd be great to go with these bagels or whatever that you're doing for the meeting. And they'll bring you this fruit that looks like it's 6 days old. And I complained, and the lady that I was talking to said, if you had tipped them, it would have guaranteed that your shopper picked out the freshest. I was like, what?
Oh my
Are
gosh.
you kidding me right now? Like that? This is no, forget it. I'll send the girl up front that I'm already paying a salary to
Yeah.
go to the store. I'll pay her mileage and it'll still be better.
Yeah, for real.
No,
You know,
no.
and things like this, like what Drew's talking about, when you go to pick up your pizza, I think that the tip on there is because they share the same POS system that the drivers do. So like sometimes it automatically just has a pit or a tip on there, and it just expects you to pay. So, but I've seen that before. You go to pick up a pizza, and I'm like, I'm not going to tip you. That's your
Right.
job back there. You know?
Right.
Well, and I'm like what Erica said. When you go to BW3s, if you're up there at the checkout, if you go to pick something up, it always asks if you want a tip, and I'm
Mm-mm.
like, no.
For what? No.
Exactly. Now I've actually been over here to my local B-dubs and go for a pickup where they come out and bring it out to the truck, and I'll always give the guy a tip for walking it out the truck or whatever. And he actually told me, he says, "You realize I can't keep that. That goes back to the kitchen staff." And I'm like, "Well, they don't know who I am, so I'm not worried about it. So I don't do that anymore. It's part of the service. I mean, why would you?"
Right.
Why would you pay extra for doing their job?
Dude, some of these people are making $15 an hour. Can we stop? Like, just stop. Stop. I'm not doing it.
I agree.
Yeah. But that's we can also take your sound offs as well. As you can see, comments are flooding into the comment section. Also, I usually have the chat. I'll go ahead and throw the chat up there too, so people can watch that if they're watching the show. Also, you can join the show in several different ways. By going to the chats, hanging out with us over there on YouTube or Facebook. And you can also hang out with us on the Crusade Channel chat room, crusadechannel.com, live radio the way it should be. And then you can also leave your sound off, breakdradio.com. Click on the mic in the bottom right-hand corner. Now, by the way, so for those folks who don't know this, there's another pandemic already cocked and locked and ready and loaded. The next pandemic is even deadlier than COVID. And it's coming, warns the WHO. The head of the World Health Organization warned that the world must prepare for the next pandemic, which could be even deadlier than the COVID-19 pandemic. In a meeting of the World Health Assembly in Geneva, Switzerland on Monday, Director General Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus sounded an alarm that the COVID-19 pandemic is far from over. Now, people are talking about this is an alarm, a warning, but is it more like a threat?
I think it's more like a threat.
Rather than a warning?
Oh, it's a threat.
He says here the threat of another variant emerging that causes new surges of disease and death remains. That's remained ever since the fall.
Okay,
Like,
I kind of wonder though. Do you wonder if this time, because a lot of people were angry about buying into the lockdown, and a lot of people were angry about how long it took, and the whole 14 days to flatten the curve still sticks in some people's craw pretty badly.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think if they were to say that again, that people would so easily go, okay, I don't know, it might be different. People might be like, nah, no, we're not doing that. I'm not saying that they wouldn't shut down businesses and make things difficult, but I think people in general would likely refuse to be kept in their homes again. I don't know that they would do it. Not everybody. A lot of people would.
Yeah, I think people are on extra sensitivity mode right now. Any discussion about this, any talk about it, anything that even comes up with it, and I think it triggers almost, I think I'm allowed to say that word. I think it almost triggers people thinking what it was like to see grocery stores shut down, schools shut down, churches shut down, and food supply, toilet paper. Oh my gosh, the toilet paper. I mean, everybody losing the toilet paper. Their ever loving minds over the toilet paper there. But I think people really freak out and they see this. I mean, I haven't seen. I don't think that people have really come down from that yet.
They have not.
When I see people wearing masks, especially if they're outside walking into or out of a store, I'm like, why are you wearing a mask still? Like, what's the deal with that? Some people are still heightened on this extreme sensitivity to anything having to do with this illness.
I don't understand
how
it at all.
how people used to look at us when we didn't want to wear the mask? That's the way I look at people now that wear the mask.
I think that's the way that most people looked at others who wore masks back.
Especially since all of the evidence has come out.
Most people in
absolutely
this audience.
But I mean, especially since the mask has come out, or the evidence has come out that the mask did absolutely nothing. other than make you
Yeah.
feel better.
Well, and that it was somewhat harmful in it, especially the children, and to put your pulse ox levels that low is
Right.
dangerous
Right.
for anybody. But I also think that you're talking about a situation. Okay, again, I'm gonna say user error. People who went through that and did not bother to think about, maybe I should have some food storage, or maybe I should stock up on some toilet paper. Or I mean, if you're not keeping at the very least bottled water, paper goods, there's some things that
You
at
just
some
do.
point I'm not going to have any sympathy for you.
Or it's amazing how people have started to change their interest as far as like hobbies. Like now you're starting to see where preppers used to be a fringe
Crazies.
hobby.
Mhm.
Now people are actually going, I wonder if I can do container gardening at home. I
Right.
wonder what it would take to do like a water purification system. And I mean, like people are actually starting to think about this stuff on an everyday thing.
Right.
That where before it's like only the weird homeschooling people were the ones that did that kind of garbage.
Yeah,
You know?
Did you just call homeschooling people weird?
No, I was
back.
making a joke. I was making a joke about the stigma.
I know. Mm-hmm.
But it's funny because you think about stuff like that, and it's like even one of the commercials that we have on the show here where he talks about, you know, the food prepping and things like that, and he says that used to sound like it was kind of a fringe thing, but not so much. I mean, that's where we're at today, where the stuff that used to be on the fringe because of, you know, like you said, like getting the
filling out a
survival
deposit
food.
slip.
Well,
oh man, you're still caught up on that, Boomer. I mean, seriously, Erica.
I can't help it. I mean, if I could tell you the look on my face, I stared for a second. Like, wait, let me compute this. And the good thing is the person who said it to me, I have a really good working relationship with. So I was able to be like, okay, listen, I'm going to show you. I can show you how to do this.
So
But
just so the audience knows what you're talking about, go ahead and just give us an idea of that, because you
I
told Bryan
sent
about it.
Yeah, I
Bryan.
sent these guys a message this week because I was at work and I was like dealing with somebody who's going to be depositing physical money. Like you have the check is coming in and they're going to have to take it to the bank for this is a thing, right? And so it's a business, it's a corporate deposit, whatever. And I brought down a deposit book. I'm like, okay, so you're going to have to fill out a deposit slip and you take those to the bank. And he's like, okay, can you show me how to fill out a deposit slip? I was like, oh, what? Hold on. Okay, I can understand. And I did have to think about it. I'm like, I bet, I mean, in the normal world, if you're just a person who's never dealt with taking checks from other people and depositing them for a business, you're only talking about your stuff. If you're in your mid to late 20s, there's a possibility that you've never had to deposit a paycheck. It goes in automatically.
Right.
You've never had to deposit a check you could take a picture of it, take a picture of the front, take a picture of the back, and you deposit it and you shred it and you never have to do that. So I don't want to make it sound like my just initial reaction was, that's insane. What do you mean? I mean, this young gentleman does a fantastic job for us, and he's married. Like, he has a lot of responsibility. He's a determined, really hardworking young guy. And I was just like, wait, what?
After we thought about this, I actually started going and thinking through this.
Bryan was like contemplating.
No, well, because I wanted to think, how odd is that? And I'm thinking to myself, in my personal life and in my business life, we don't use deposit slips. We don't use checks anymore. Well, I pay bills online. I make deposits online. Everything I do is on. Now, the only time I use any kind of deposit slip is currently with our church when we do our weekly collections or whatever, and we make one deposit a week on Sunday afternoon. The clerk fills out a deposit slip just for our records. But if I put all that in a bag and hand it to the teller on Monday morning, they'll deposit it
and they'll put it through the machine, they'll count it, and they'll put it in. Right.
Exactly.
I aged myself by being so surprised, really.
Now, what's interesting though is, can he write a check?
Oh yeah. I'm quite sure this gentleman can execute a check. Yeah.
When you think about that, like a lot of people, and I'm not. Initially, my reaction, of course, was, the people really don't use deposit slips anymore.
Right. You were like, listen,
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
most people take deposit, most banks have taken deposit tickets and withdrawal slips out of the lobby. You have to ask for them because of the amount of fraud that's happened.
Right.
So they had to, and the identity theft and such. But I also got to thinking, I'm like, you think about how technology has advanced, and we could probably process, because the three of us are intelligent people. If somebody set us down in front of a cow with a bucket and said, milk that cow, then
Yeah, we could
turn
figure it
the
out.
milk into butter. We could figure it out. Like, I'm
Right.
sure you
But
gave this
only
young man
because
the
we know the
deposit slip.
basic concept.
Exactly. Like, we're like, I don't milk cows anymore. I don't do that, like, hey, go out there and harvest that, harvest this or whatever. We have machines that do it because technology has advanced to the point now where some things have become obsolete. Think about how many kids, I mean, we had a rotary phone growing up, and I'm sure most definitely you did, Erica, but like you have like a rotary phone and a kid staring at a rotary phone going, I don't know what to do with the rotary phone. They're like trying to hit the buttons.
Hold on. Hold the phone.
I literally hold the phone.
No, we did not have rotary dials. My
you had party
parents did.
lines.
I never had party lines oh wait, there were. Yes, there were still shared lines, but buttons, phones had buttons. And they were on the wall and they were attached with a cord. Like you couldn't just walk around the house with a phone when I first started using a phone. But we didn't have rotary. Like at my grandmother's house, there was one of those that we played with, and we were like, "Cool, let's play with the rotary phone."
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Come
I mean,
on, I'm
that'd be
not
like,
that
we
old.
also remember like the days before call waiting, where you would be calling your buddy or trying to get in touch with
Busy?
the girl to ask her to do that beep, beep, beep. And then like,
How to make your parents angry.
yeah. And then how many times have you like, you can't get on the phone, I'm waiting for a phone call. Or how many times, like, think about this, where you went to pick up, you were on the phone and all of a sudden you heard, and somebody's trying to get online.
Somebody's
And
trying to
you're
get
like,
online.
Right.
Shut
Yeah,
AOL down, I'm on the phone.
Yeah, those things were miserable. They did happen. Yes.
But like, yeah, so like
I
back
can't tell
then,
you
I
how
mean,
many times I've been waiting for the latest song from Napster to download, and it was like a 3-hour endeavor for one song. And then my mom got on the phone and just ruined the whole download because she had to make a phone call to her sister.
Yeah. Your phone call couldn't wait. Mom!
But I do remember the days of star 69, call waiting, and
man.
three-way calling.
Star 69 ruined the prank call industry, man.
Yep.
It was
No
rough.
longer could we do no more prank calls. And three-way calling was vicious because if you were talking smack about your friend or they were talking smack about you, your other friend could call you and then you didn't have to say anything and they could bring in the third person and have a conversation and you could hear the smack talk for yourself. And then all of a sudden there you were on the phone. Oh, really? Really? Yeah. that was vicious.
I mean, but think about technology like that. That has changed. Like if somebody were to tell you, I need you to go out, saddle up a horse, put a bridle in its mouth, and get it ready to hook up to the carriage. Like, and some cowboys, some people over in, Oklahoma and Texas and those areas, probably some listeners to this show would be like, I can do that, moron. Why can't you do it? Because I don't need it. My saddling up my horse is hitting the key fob to unlock the door and sticking the key in the ignition. That's how I saddle up my horsey. Okay. Yes. I don't literally have a horse anymore because technology has gone to that point, Oh, stick shift in cars, Kathy. She dropped that in the chat over on YouTube. If your boyfriend, ladies, if your boyfriend can't drive a stick, you have a girlfriend.
Okay, hold on. Stop right there. My dad would not let me get a driver's license without driving a stick. I had to take my driver's license test in a stick shift. That was a requirement by my own. That was a thing.
My dad taught me how to drive a stick shift in a bread truck.
Okay, it wasn't a bread truck. I think mine was like a Mazda RX-7 or something like that. But
you had those little cute cars that even if you put it in the wrong gear, just by hitting the stick shift long enough, it popped it into gear.
Yeah, I don't know. I got yelled at a lot.
Those, one of those huge giant gear shifters that went like from the floor all the way up to the seat, and you had to, trying to get it to get. No. That's not good. That's not good at all.
So, all right. So, I mean, like the whole thing, I just look at stuff that's become obsolete. And that's pretty much the way I think. I'm trying, and maybe I'm being too
Kathy with the Datsun B210. Yes.
Oh man. So but yeah, there's only a couple minutes left in this segment. We got a new segment coming up next. Are y'all ready for this, by the way?
Yeah.
Y'all ready? Okay, we got a new segment
Wow,
coming up.
that was super excited, Brian.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not ready.
And coming up in the next hour, we've got Bad Theology, which is going to be at the bottom of the hour. We've also got the new segment coming up, which is called What You Thinking, where each of us have picked a news story privately. We're going to play that, and we're going to read the news story or just talk about it. And then the other two, well, I'll tell you when we get back from the break here in just a moment. Now this, where did I see that one story? Oh yeah, just real quick here, the Oath Keepers. I know this is kind of, I don't want to just throw this in there, but the Oath Keeper Stuart Rhodes was convicted to 18 years in prison this week. I don't know if y'all saw this story or not, for his role for seditious conspiracy, I believe it was. It was 18 years in prison given to Stuart Rhodes for a rarely charged crime, underscoring the lengths to which the Justice Department and the courts have gone in addressing the assault on the Capitol, the absolute worst insurrection and most ineffective insurrection in the history of insurrections ever, the worst ever. They are now convicting Stuart Rhodes for 18 years in prison. Not only that, but somebody else that was a member of the Oath Keepers that was there as well has been sentenced to 8.5 years in prison. She's a military vet and I was surprised by this. Her name, this person's name is Jessica Watkins, a military veteran, transgender woman, Oath Keepers member, who participated in the January 6th, now they say, but I'm going to quote fingers insurrection, is going to prison for 8.5 years. Federal judge sentenced him on Friday, and I'm honestly with an easier conviction. And they said, Watkins says, I was just another idiot running around the Capitol. And now she said that, or they said that they're being held responsible. But those are the travesties of justice we're facing with the January 6th false insurrections. All right, folks, when we get back, Bad Theology and the news segment, What You Thinking, plus on the news stories, I'm going to trigger people because I'm going to talk about Bubba Wallace. We'll be back right here on The Breakdown. Don't go away. All right, we're clear.
All right, I'll be right back.
Oh, sounds
good. The stick shift conversation is hilarious. I'm going to tell you all the story, and it doesn't have to be on the air, but I'm going to tell you the story about how my dad got me in downtown traffic and decided that he was going to make me get the truck off of a hill in the middle of noonday traffic.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I agree with that, by the way. In the chat, Kathy saying right or wrong on J6, the folks are being treated unconstitutionally. Yeah, they
100%
are.
agreed. Yes, Kathy.
Because this, I mean, there are so many things we could talk about with this, but honestly, they are being treated unfairly. They're being treated horribly.
They're being made an example of.
But they're using it. It's the worst. They are being made an example of, but it's a horrible way to make an example.
Aaron, I believe it goes back to your conversation just a second ago, though, about the when you were talking about the threat. I think what the Democrats and what some of the woke are doing is they're turning this into, if you stand up against us, we will ruin your life, and that's exactly what they're trying to do.
Yeah, that is what they are trying to do. Faux show. All right. Anybody need any coffee, anything like that?
I'm good for a minute.
Okay. We've got.
We lost misinformation there for a second.
Yeah. We got about 2 minutes and 25 seconds. I'll be right back. I'm going to stretch my legs.
Oh, I get to entertain everybody? Yay! No, I'm just kidding.
Well, sure, if you want to call it that. Go right ahead, man.
I'm just kidding.
You got to do, bro. Yes, please feel free to entertain, Brian.
I appreciate that, yeah. So, yeah, you're absolutely right, Kathy, that no matter what you do with this, the way that J6, because first of all, like Aaron said, it was completely inconsequential as far as what happened. The Capitol Police were shown leading the leaders around in the Capitol. That this is all a sham. It's like everything else. I don't know if you saw anything from President Trump last week, I guess it was. He's like, this is from the same people who brought you the Mueller garbage, and the same people that brought you the Russian hoax, and the same people that brought you, impeachment number 1 and impeachment number 2. And I mean, at some point in time, you have to ask, why are they fighting so hard? I think that's a reasonable question. Is what are they trying to? What is the issue? What are they fighting so hard against one single man? And that tells you either they're scared to death of him, or he's got enough information on them to actually do something. Now, he didn't, or he hasn't yet. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But yeah.
What I miss?
We were just talking about how they're making such an example of the J6 stuff, and I said it's amazing because I don't know if did you see I can't remember what interview it was, but I saw or actually it was I guess it was a public stream where President Trump made a comment. He's like, "This is from the same people who brought you the impeachment or the failed impeachment 1 and the failed impeachment 2 and the Mueller hoax and the Russia hoax." And he's like, this is all. And I was telling Kathy, I said, this is why you have to wonder at some point in time, why are they fighting so hard against one person?
10 seconds. Oh man, that's we all know the answer to that question. All right,
I agree.
Go. 5 seconds. Go Dart. I've expressed my disdain and hatred both on the show and on social media for the TSA. I absolutely hate the TSA. We talk about people grooming our kids in school. The TSA is grooming America and has been for quite some time. Here are a couple news. So first off, we went to the TSA the last week. Obviously, we flew, and my father-in-law was needed assistance, so we were wheeling him through the airport, and I was with him, and he actually has the pre-check, the TSA pre-check. And because I was with him, his escort, essentially, I was putting an escort. We have this running joke, my father-in-law and I do, that whenever we are together, like we go to the rental car or something like that, because we're usually the two that go up there, and it looks like we're a couple. So it's a funny thing that we do. I always try to play it up. But anyway, I'm pushing him through the TSA. We got through pretty quickly. I still had to go through the unconstitutional naked body scanner. But my wife was, for the first time, she hates when I'm at the airport, she always tells me to shut up because I'm always talking about how much I hate the TSA, and I'm going through how unconstitutional it is. But she, for the first time, actually got felt up by the TSA folks. I guess they started filling up her chest area, and I look over, and the look on her face was priceless. Like if she had laser vision, that entire place would have turned into a crater.
Right?
Like she was pissed. I mean, it wasn't mortified. Like, it's like, she's top heavy, and she's like, these are real. And I guess it was because she said she was wearing a wired bra. I don't know if that's too much information. I don't know if she's going to kill me if I tell people that. But the woman was all like, running around her breast line and all that stuff. And I'm like, hey, come on now. Let me in on that action. I'll volunteer for that job. She's my wife.
Oh my
But then
gosh.
they also searched my father. They did some pat down on him.
What?
Not search, but patted him down, and he's in a wheelchair. And we're like, what are you doing? It's ridiculous. And but there are some couple of stories here that I want to talk about. This woman, check this out. This is for women especially. I hate the TSA for women because it is a mortifying. It is what's the word I'm thinking of? Not just mortifying, but it's like
it's degrading.
It's dehumanizing. Yeah, it's degrading. It's degrading for every single person that's out there, but especially for women. And in situations like this woman, as she was getting onto the airplane, was weighed like baggage before her flight.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, check this out here. This is a video that is, let's see, here we go. I muted the sound because all it is Pedro Pascal in the bottom eating toast. It's like this. There's a picture of this woman standing on the baggage weigher. I mean, and she's got some meat on her bones. She does not look overly heavy to me on that. So there's no reason I would see it alarmed to do that with her. But it says a traveler shared the mortifying moment that a fellow passenger was forced to step on a baggage scale before takeoff after confusion over her weight. Confusion. A clip detailing the humiliating measure was originally posted in March, but has amassed 1.6 million views on TikTok. The whole airport trying to mind their own business as the woman is asked to step on a baggage scale. She added, "It's a tiny plane, so they needed our weight to take off for safety."
No, they did not. That was a lie.
In the accompanying 5-second footage shot at an undisclosed airport, the passenger in question can be seen standing on the luggage scale in full view of fellow flyers. Needless to say, the embarrassing ordeal divided the TikTok commentariat, with one viewer writing, "Why are people so mean?" Another people said that's not okay. Meanwhile, a third recalled being subject to similar precaution, explaining, "Flying home from the Philippines, they weighed me. I have never been so embarrassed in my life." I mean, that's just... I know that each of your bags can't be over a certain weight. That's why they have like the 50 pounds. First class is 70 pounds. I think no, wait, now it goes up to 70 on commercial, like domestic, on regular. But anyway, but yeah, anybody that has to be weighed like that, that's humiliating.
That's right, Curtis. I'm trans fat as well.
I feel I'm okay. Trouble.
Yeah. I mean, it is.
No, I'm not sure. I mean, what size was the plane? Is it a prop plane? Are there 6 seats? Are there 9 seats? Are there 12 seats? What are we talking about? Because there is a balance. There is a weight shift. There are requirements. I don't think she looks that heavy. I'm not saying they did the right thing, but do we know all the circumstances?
We don't know the circumstances, but from the counter
but
that
I do
she's
think
standing
that
at.
if it was necessary, maybe do it privately.
Thank you. That's exactly where I was going. Like, I understand. It's like, hey, can you, if it's necessary on that flight, it's like, hey, do you mind? We need to do a little bit more,
because nobody
for your
wants
ticket.
to
Could you
do
step
that,
over into
right?
this
Like,
room?
imagine
Right.
being the
Yeah.
person who has to tell her that we need to do this. Nobody would want to do that, I don't think.
Right.
You're not just going to come up with that, like, hey, let's weigh the fat girl. That's not going to happen.
No, in today's society, it very well will happen.
What?
Okay. No,
I feel like people are ultra
I
sensitive
know.
to that right now.
I'm going to tell you right now.
Brian's triggered. Brian
I
is
am
triggered
right now because as a large man, and I am a large man, I'm not going to get into all the details, but I am a large man. And trust me, you cannot go into a restaurant what people aren't looking at you weird now.
Now, is that just paranoia?
No, it is not paranoia.
Or is that
it
like,
is not
because I'm
paranoia.
a large guy as well. Now, and I do understand a certain amount of self-consciousness, but whether or not people are actually, it seems to me like people are even more
I think
accepting
people
now.
really try
No.
to go out of their way not to do that.
Yeah, I believe so as well. I mean, now, not as much as people try to be anti-racist, but I do think there is a stigma around fat people, especially, and I can say fat people because I'm a fat people, but or horizontally challenged. But I do believe there's a stigma to a certain point, but I do also believe it's starting to turn a corner, because when's the last time that you looked at a Victoria's Secret catalog? Hold on a second. It sounds bad.
I haven't.
Well,
Thank you very much.
no.
Aaron. Yeah, what are you talking about, huh?
Whenever you see a Victoria's Secret ad, they pop up. They always have a larger woman in there, like a bigger boned woman in there, and by the way, like, they're like, this is healthy, and they show you kind of a full figured model, that is, a larger woman that has a larger measurements. But if they really want to do it, they should start showing people like Rosie O'Donnell, like,
well,
this
I'm
is
beyond
this
full
is
figured. Let's just say this. I'm beyond full figured, but I will tell you
Wasn't
this.
Martha Stewart just in Playboy?
But I will say this.
Or
When you go into a
swimsuit. Wait, that was
Swimsuit,
Sports
yeah.
Illustrated swimsuit, right? Martha
Is that
Stewart.
legit?
Yeah, that's
Wasn't-
legit.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I thought it was a
No.
joke.
No.
I thought somebody just threw
No,
it on
that
there.
was
that's
real.
legit. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've been into restaurants before, and I've even made a habit of I go out of my way to make light of it. I'll come in and I'll tell them I'm looking for a table, and and then I'll even make a joke. Your booths are not big guy friendly.
Well,
That's not a
okay,
joke.
but
That's
see,
passive
you're
aggressive.
making the joke where that's not even necessary.
But
Allow
I
people to
okay, but you
assume.
have to understand that but
Why
when
is
you
it different?
don't make that joke, they try to put you in the
Hold on,
smallest
Brian.
table you can they can set you in.
What were you saying,
I
Erica?
mean, I don't know how that's any different than if I walk into a restaurant and I say, um, I want to sit at the bar, but I'm gonna need a booster chair because I'm short and I can't. I mean, that I'm not
But
gonna.
that's
Why would
funny.
you come in and make that joke to draw attention to the fact that I'm why if I'm why would I draw attention to the fact that I'm short? Don't draw attention, like by making that comment, you're drawing
First
attention
of
to
all,
it.
when I walk
And
into a
then
room,
people
nobody
are
has to draw attention to the
uncomfortable.
fact that I'm fat.
Nobody
Nobody
what?
likes to draw attention
I
to it.
said
No,
nobody has
I
to
mean, people are automatically drawn to your gravitational pull.
exactly.
They're
But
drawn
my
to it
point being
because now you're
is
forcing them to react to it because you've now made a joke about it. And now they
okay.
don't know, should I laugh at that? Was he being serious? Like
Or I
you're
can wait for
making it
them to sit me in a
uncomfortable.
booth and I have to tell them, make an embarrassment statement. Hey, I can't fit here. Can you put me somewhere else?
Okay, just
Well, you could just
just say
simply ask,
I need a
"Do you need a
table,
booth
please. Period.
or a
Oh,
table?"
I
Yeah.
always do
You
that.
know.
But I always no, you guys are missing a point.
Well, if somebody said that to me now, no, because I understand the sensitivity. I've been a fat guy the majority of my life. There was a short period of time where I was skinny and I snagged my wife, and then I was like, "Hey, Taco Bell again, and Mountain Dew," and I blew up. But if somebody, it seems more passive aggressive. It seems like your booths aren't big guy friendly. It's like, oh well, I'm sorry. And then it automatically makes you feel awkward. It sets the tone of like, oh, this guy's one of those
Or just
guys.
say booths aren't big guy friendly, not your booths aren't big guy friendly. Because I don't know. It just seems like you're I'm then forced to react to it. And what if you don't like what if I'm not ready for that? Or what if I don't know whether it's a
I'm
joke or
not
not.
forcing anybody to react to
Now I don't know
anything.
well, they gotta
But
say
what I'm doing
something.
is I'm taking care of an issue that is obvious and that needs to be dealt with in public.
So if you say that to me and I'm the server and I have to sit you down and I'm me and you know me well enough to be like, I might be like, don't, what are you then what? Right? I
Then
mean,
hopefully you have a sense enough of humor that you're going to laugh at it and play with it. If
well,
not, it's
that would
fine.
be like if
I'm
I
not
said
worried about it
that,
one way or the other.
if I make a
But what
joke about it, you have to be ready to, as long as people are.
But what I'm trying to get at here
Delivery and
is
timing though is the key when it comes to joke making and
is
comedy.
what
Like if you're gonna you have to have the delivery of it. I mean, you have to make like if you said that to me, I wouldn't think that was a joke.
Right.
you have to read the
I would
room.
think that as a complaint. That you would be saying that, like if you said something like, hey, can I get a table? Your seats, your booths are not robust enough to handle this manly man. Like that's funny, like if you were to say it like that, they're like, oh, because there's a little bit of charm and humor in that. But like your booths are not big guy friendly. Like,
Well, first of all, I'm always charming, to say the least.
Oh yeah, I'm feeling your charm is oozing through the
Dripping
broadcast
down.
Lord Brian of Diadem
it's
is
caught in your
always
beard, Brian.
oozing
It's
with charm.
saturated in
Okay,
your beard.
my point being is I'm not. I could just say that there is definitely a stigma that goes into that, and I can tell you that people in the airport and people at the TSA and people in more public governmental areas are much more judgmental than most servers and most
Do you know
public
why?
people. And I'm going to tell you why. The people in public, especially like at a restaurant or something like that, they're okay, even if it may make them a little uncomfortable at first. They're okay because they deal with people. And unless they're just in a really ticked off mood all day long, which they're not going to be in server position very long if they are, but if they're in just a really ticked off mood all day long, they're gonna pick up on the sarcasm, they're gonna pick up on the fun, and they're gonna, especially if they talk to me, because I am very jovial when I'm in public. Okay,
I feel it right now.
so the thing is, but you go to the TSA, or if you go to the ticket counter I mean, I've had people I had one airline that tried to sell me a second seat because I was too big.
Well, you should have to buy one. And I was thinking the other day. Usually we fly Comfort. We're going to Utah here in a couple of months, and we were going for the first time in my life. We're going first class, but I had to sit between two guys the other day on the way back, and I'm like, man, I would have bought two seats because I don't want to make anybody else around me feel uncomfortable. But here is one of those passengers. Now, there's an etiquette when you get off an airplane. First class, obviously, because they're the snooty folks, they get to go first. But the and that's something Kathy just put in there. The TSA has no sense of humor. I'll talk about that. We got to get through a couple quick news stories here and a sound off that somebody just dropped. But when you get off an airplane, it's by rows. When it gets to you, you get up, you stand up, you get your carry-ons, and then you go by rows.
Right.
This person here decided that it was they were a little bit more entitled and decided that they wanted to make a scene on an airplane. And here's
I understand that we're all are waiting, but well, that's not how I work. I make the rules as I go. Well, I make the rules as I go. I don't know about you, but I do.
Well, I break them.
Guess what? And I'm breaking them right now too. Excuse me.
Oh my God.
Hey, boss.
Hey, we got a hostile one back here.
Yes, we do.
He is too. He's knocking people over.
Don't be rude to me, because one thing I can do is be rude back to you. It's what I can be.
Oh, let's just take it down.
I am, but I'm just saying, she's talking about I'm hostile, but I can be rude as well. I didn't push no damn body. You want to stand in the way like you're a bodyguard. I moved you out my way is what I did. Have a great day. I love you. And I kiss it more and more and more. And kiss your tits too, babe. Yes.
Wow.
Don't tell me to kiss your ass. Don't do that. It's not worth it. It's not, because guess what? You think I look pretty, but you'll see the ghetto come out of me, darling.
That is a gentleman, by the way. Not
That's
a
a
gentleman.
what?
That is a male.
No.
That is
not a
when
male.
I say gentleman. When I was saying gentleman, I was being facetious. This is a guy that is on an
Well,
airplane.
he's a little like the
that was
testosterone department.
pushing his way through, and then after he pushed his way through, said, "I didn't push nobody," and then he said, "I moved you." Okay, that's like saying I didn't kick that person. I moved them with my foot.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
but yeah, so that person right there, this is we'll show this picture right here. This is the person that is that made such a, and this is a great advertisement for David Kors products too, because you got to think people that, I mean,
think
gosh,
it's
come on,
Michael
look at that.
Kors.
Is it Michael
It's
Kors?
Michael Kors.
Michael Kors, yeah. Oh, shut up, Brian. You didn't know
I
that.
did know that.
But anyway, regardless, that is how this person treated on an airplane. That if that were my wife there, my daughter, that guy would be meeting me outside the airport when we got off. BreakDRadio.com is the link to go to. Click on the mic at the bottom right-hand corner. You can also leave your sound off, which is what this person did here. Looks like Watson left us a sound off here. So let's go ahead and pop this on. See what he has to say today. Uh-oh. There you go. Can you all hear that?
No.
No, there's no volume at all.
Hold on just a second then. Oh my gosh, hold on. There we go. Hold on. Now we can hear it. Let's go ahead here. Sorry about that. Here we go.
I want to correct you on something. You said you were horizontally challenged. Well, if you were horizontally challenged, that would make you a 2D character. And of course, none of us are 2D characters. If you want to get it right, if you refer to size and talk about there being excess, you are horizontally advantaged. You're not horizontally challenged. You are horizontally advantaged. Get it right. Oh my
God! Wait.
The end part.
Who's he
Does that
talking
mean
about?
I said I was horizontally challenged.
if that's true, then that means I'm vertically advantaged? Or
Well,
does it
I'm
not work that way?
gravitationally
'Cause
challenged.
No, it doesn't.
it doesn't work
I'm
that way.
gravitationally challenged.
No, you're
Yeah.
gravitationally advantaged because you have an advantage. I don't
Well, I'll be
think
one
I'm
of the.
actually
Let's just
vertically
say if the Earth
advantaged.
loses its gravitational pull, I'll be one of the last ones to leave the planet.
We'll all be,
Well, I'd say,
we'll all be
Erica,
hanging on to you, Brian.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, let's go.
oh man, I have my own solar system that circles Uranus, but Erica, you were saying you're horizontally. The only way you're challenged would be an advantage is if we needed to go into the quantum realm and we needed somebody that could fit through the quantum.
My beard has its own quantum realm, just so you know.
Gosh, your beard is like that forest in Japan where people go to die.
Bonsai.
That could be what that
Forest.
smell is. I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh. All right. So foul people on airplanes, and that was her sound off. There was another, I think that was the only, I think that's what we had to get to. And then, okay, now, so here we go. Who wants to go first on this new segment, by the way?
Well, mine is not, if it's supposed to be shocking and debilitating, I should probably go first because mine isn't, but whatever. It is what
Okay.
I'm,
All
it
right,
is
well,
what
here-
I'm thinking if you want me to go there.
All right, well, let's do this here. Here we go. It's time for the news segment on the breakdown. What you thinking? All right, Erica. So here's the gist of this. I was like, all right, well, what we can do is we can have, we could each read our own story and then not give any inflection, not give anything away. And then the other two have to guess what the person is thinking. Bubba Wallace, that's what I wanted to talk about. The other person is thinking. It's kind of like, here's a story, and we would think, oh, well, typically a person would have this opinion, but what is it? Is it this opinion or is it that opinion? So that's how we're doing this. So, Erica, we're going to allow you, you might be able to get through your synopsis before the bottom of the hour break, and then Bryan and I can jump in afterwards.
Yeah, I can do
But
that.
go ahead with your, and I'm going to do this for you too. Look at this. You're going to be a feature. Oh, no, not that.
God, don't do that. That's crazy.
Okay, here we go. I'm going to feature you right here,
Oh
Erica.
my
on
God,
the.
I don't need
on
this.
the-
This is how to make someone nervous right before they have to read something that they didn't
There you
write,
go.
right? Okay, so my daughter's graduating from high school on Wednesday, right? So
Congratulations, that's awesome.
obviously that's what I'm thinking about, and it's just my current. So I did find this article, and my daughter's situation is rather unique, but I won't give that away because it might give away my reaction. There's an article in Forbes that just came out yesterday, actually, about why high school graduates should consider a gap year, and they talk about the biggest reasons why they think they talk about having more time to mature. I totally there's a self-exploration as far as like hobbies, talents, interests. That's what they mean when they say that. Financial benefits of taking a gap year, and then opportunity cost. Like you're finding yourself a little bit, they're saying, between the age of 18, 19, or 19 and 20, and then you have a better idea of what the opportunities are that are out there in the real world, and you can better cultivate what degree you might want based on what you know is really out there versus women's studies. Which, what's your job perspective on that, right? Like, so they're saying it is a better benefit. The downsides they talk about they did talk about some potential waste of time. If it's not directed at 18 years old, you maybe don't have the direction to go strong enough to spend the year productively or constructively, one of the two. This one, disconnect from other students. Like you may go in older than other kids, that feeling out of place. And then the financial consequences, they're saying if you're thinking that you're going to spend the year earning the money to go to college, you can't possibly earn enough money to attend a traditional university in 1 year over what it costs, and the costs continually go up. So just go, whatever. Those were their points. But it's a consideration. And my daughter's did a very different high school. You're talking about a sophomore year with COVID kind of thing, and then going back in. And you guys know she only went to school for 2 hours a day this year and worked the rest of the time. So that's what I'm thinking.
All right. So now Bryan, we give our perspective on Erica's opinion about this and whether or not she's for or against it. What do you think? You want me to go first, or you want to go first? And by the way, anybody can drop their comments in the chat as well, or leave your sound off by going to breakdradio.com.
I will defer to our illustrious leader, Aaron. Go ahead.
Okay, so the essential point of the story is the argument of taking a gap year or not taking a gap year for kids that leave high school.
Correct.
And whether or not they should take that time to go back into school. Now, Forbes, of course, is focused on the economy and such, so they want to see more people go to school for that influx of possible student loans, which would supercharge, they think, in their Keynesian economics, the economy by drawing more debt, putting kids more into debt. I think, Erica, that your opinion on this is that you're for an exploratory gap year between high school and college to take some time, decompress, determine what it is that you want to do, research maybe life and find out if what you're feeling after high school is exactly the career path you want to take, or is there another option you can find? Because leaving high school, going straight into college in that instance, especially with the very unique high school years that people have had, my kids kind of did the same thing as well. It could be healthier for a person because you might determine that college isn't for you, and you might end up falling into a career that's better for you, that has more purpose and a better pay. That's my opinion. That's where I think you're going. Now, before you answer that, Brian, what do you think?
I think it's the opposite. I think she does not agree with the gap year. I think she's like, get your butt back in school and get done with what you got to get done if you're going to go, and if you're not, go get a job. That's just my opinion. Maybe I could be wrong.
Okay, now look, this is what we're going to do, Erica. Don't give us an answer yet because we're about to break here. Now, what I want people to do as they listen to this, in the comments on either YouTube or Facebook or sound offs while we're on break, go ahead and drop in. Do you think Erica is for the gap year after high school, or do you think Erica is against the gap year after high school? And for those of you who don't know what a gap year is, Erica explained it pretty well there. It's that period where you take it could be 1 year, it could be 2 years, where you leave high school, you graduate, and then you take a gap. Like, between like Genesis 1 and Genesis 2, there's a gap. So is there a gap there?
There's not a gap between Genesis 1 and Genesis 2.
Is Erica for it, or is she against it? Go ahead and drop that in the comments. We will be back after this break right here on The Breakdown, broadcasting on the Crusade Channel Live Radio, the way it should be.
Fighting for your right to be wrong. Mojo 50.
Supply chain disruptions, shortages, panic buying. Unfortunately, they've all become facts of life in 2021. The good news is you have preparewithmojo50.com as a hedge against all the craziness. At preparewithmojo50.com, not only will you find emergency food supplies.
Remember when that seemed like a fringe conspiracy theory thing to do?
Not so much anymore, right? Not only will you find the emergency food supply, but also water filtration, air filtration, all sorts of other tools that you can use in the event of an unforeseen situation or emergency, which with every day that goes by seems more and more likely. Better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Preparewithmojo50.com. If you want to keep food on the table, if you just want to maintain some sense of normalcy, preparewithmojo50.com is the answer. Preparewithmojo50.com.
Let's be honest. Wheelchairs are heavy, bulky, and ugly. If you carry a wheelchair in your car to take care of a loved one, you know how hard it is getting that clunky, old-style wheelchair in and out of your car. Introducing the Feather Chair Wheelchair. At 13 pounds, it's the world's lightest wheelchair. It folds in seconds and fits neatly in your trunk, backseat, or closet, so you can take it everywhere. And it's only available right here. Order yours today and get a free wheelchair case, a $50 value, yours free. The Feather Chair. The world's lightest wheelchair is just $4.99 with easy payments as low as $16 a month. Sorry, no Medicare or insurance accepted. So call right now to order yours.
800-823-5826. 800-823-5826. 800-823-5826. That's 800-823-5826.
Welcome back to the Breakdown, everybody. Thanks for staying with us during that break. Before we went, we tried a new segment. Oh gosh, stop it. It's getting creepy, okay? This whole beard worship thing is getting really, really creepy. Like when guys, it's so weird when people like, I like your beard. I like your beard. Well, you've got a manly beard. You've got a manly beard. Like, can we stop with the comments? Because it's getting creepy. But, anyway, how so? Good, bad, Brian? What's up?
It sounds like you're something blocking your mic or something.
Something's blocking my mic.
It doesn't sound the same.
Does it sound okay to you, Erica? Does it sound the same?
It sounds fine to me.
Okay, never mind. Go ahead.
I just want to make sure. Okay. Anyway, But before we went to break, we were doing our news segment. What you thinking? Erica dropped her article and the story about the gap year, similar to the gap year in Genesis. Bryan thinks she is against the gap year,
And there is no gap year in Genesis.
And she thinks that, of course, it's billions of years.
There is not. Lies.
Bryan thinks that Erica is against the gap year, that you just leave college or leave high school, go directly into college, get your work done. I think Erica is for a gap year, an undetermined amount of time. I don't know if it's a year, 6 months, or whatever it is. I think she's for. So now, Erica, it is your turn to reveal to us what it is. Who is right? Who got what you're thinking?
I feel like I cheated because I'm both. I think it's okay. I think it's a good idea. If you know you want to go straight in, I think go, if that's what you want to do. But I only don't go. Don't go and take the gap year, but go to school while you're doing that. Take a class. Take 2 classes, even if it's in something that you're just interested in on that basis, just to keep in the habit of having the discipline of doing it, because it's really difficult to go back when you're done, especially if it's not your favorite thing to do. And I think that's a risk that you take. But I also don't think that it's the same as it was when I went to school. And going to a university can be detrimental to anyone. Even the strongest person, even somebody with the best character, is going to be inundated for 4 straight years with the propaganda and the crap that is coming out of the university right now. So I'm for her. She's going to do her first 2 years online. With Arizona State University online bachelor program. So she'll do her core work while she's working, considering doing what she wants. She can travel. It's online. There's no classroom. There's no schedule. You go, you do that. But I am for staying involved in the learning in the arena, because I think it's really hard to go back. If you get into the habit of unless what you want is to be in a trade school, or what you want is to be a lawyer or a doctor, where the definite degree and the path is required in order for you to even practice your trade, then you have no choice. You have no choice if that's what you want to do. If you want to be in the trade school, go there and don't ever set foot on a campus. Your life will be better for it.
So who do you think more closely matched what you're thinking on this? Bryan?
I think Bryan did. No, I think you did. I think you did.
All right. Wow.
What was that, Bryan?
You're talking about wishy-washy. Come on.
I had to actually remember who picked what. Sorry. But I think Aaron was more right, because even though I truly have talked about enjoying my time in school and the way I did it, right? I think that's not good. I don't think that's good anymore. I think it's bad for parents to think that their kids should do that.
Awesome. Well, there you go. We'll see. So that now we're kind of, maybe getting to kind of a little bit of the flow of how it is. Bryan, do you want to go next?
Sure, we can go next.
All right, drop it, Bryan. Drop it like it's hot. Here, let me do this. You're gonna pow.
Okay, so Aaron, I've got this story that I found that I was really interested in. There is a North Carolina pastor and activist who's gained some nationwide attention for a viral speech in front of Wake County School Board. And his quote from the scriptures absolutely blasted people. First of all, he's an African-American man. So he talks about one of the.
I don't have to tip your hand, by the way, on the way you're thinking about it.
Trust me, I won't. He says, in the Jim Crow era, black students were locked out of public school systems, but today they're trapped in. This pastor goes on to say that after he made a 3-minute viral speech in the Raleigh, and it was picked up by the Raleigh News and the Observer, Fox News, Church Leaders Magazine, and other major outlets. He goes on and he quotes, "For it is better for a person to have," this is Luke chapter 17:2. He says, "It is better for a person to have a millstone tied around their neck than to be thrown into the sea, than to harm or damage a child." And he said, you guys really need to think about what that means. As he goes on, and I've got a video that actually has him playing the speech if you want to play it.
Yeah, I'll pop it up here. Hold on just a second. All I've got is the logo thing.
Nope, no one said we could bring props. All right.
That's the one. Keep going.
Duly noted.
Oh, that's the one. Okay, hold on.
Go ahead. I changed it.
Sorry. Hey, look at that's a cool logo on there.
If you don't want to hear it in a school board meeting, why should children be able to check it out of the school system? You see, we have perverts that are perverting our kids. And you all sit back smug in your chairs and celebrate diversity, equity, and inclusion, but you don't want me to read it so you can hear it.
So if you've seen this story, what you'll find out is this gentleman actually started to read from this book in front of the school board. The title of this book was called It's Completely Normal. And this is a book that can be picked up at the elementary and middle school. And so he started to read this in front of the school board. The school board told him he's not allowed to read this in public. He's not allowed to make these statements in public. And then that's when he goes off on his rant. He said 78% of the 3rd through the 8th grade where black students are not proficient in math in Wake County. He says we're wasting taxpayer dollars putting towards diversity, this diversity office that is not benefiting those who need it most. 66% of 3rd through 8th graders, black students, are not proficient in reading. They're not performing mathematically. They're not going to be able to get good jobs in fields like the STEM. But we're wasting money on diversity, equity, and inclusion office while they're failing black students in the name of diversity. And he just keeps going on and on. As you watch this story, this guy is extremely belligerent to these books that are being put into the public persona. So
okay. So now what are you saying that the story is you presenting about you agree that this guy should have read this or should not have read this, or about
I'm not tipping my hand on what I think. That's my story. You all figure out what I think.
Oh, is that what we're supposed to be determining?
Yes.
Though? Whether or not
Yeah,
you
so
think
I'm
he should
just-
have been able to read it?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Is it that he should be reading it, or is that he is right or wrong
On his
what he's
his
on his
point.
stance?
So my answer to that is yes. I think
Oh,
both
okay.
are questions that we need to talk about.
Okay.
Okay. You want to go first? You want me to go first? How you wanna go? Don't forget you can leave your comments in the chats as well.
Okay. I think that Bryan, the answer to whether or not he should be able to read it, Bryan would say he absolutely should be able to read it to the school board, especially if it's available to the kids to take out of the library with or without parental knowledge, number one. And then on the issue of his belligerence or how he, like what his point is. Yeah, I think Bryan's in 100% agreement on the whole thing.
So you good? Is that all?
Yeah.
Can I go? Okay. So the mention about whether or not about the millstone around the kids' necks, I think, Bryan, that annoyed you because it was a misapplication of scripture potentially. But the fact that he was reading it to the school board could have been, if it's not supposed to be read, then and why would you read that to a place where kids can now hear that online and news stories will be picking it up? And the way that he responded, I know that you are against street preaching because not against, but you dislike some forms of street preaching because people do get like that, yelling and screaming and condemning others. So I would say that as far as the diversity, equity, and inclusion in schools, you absolutely don't think that should be there. And I think you probably believe it should be removed from all libraries. As far as the guy's approach to how he did it, I think that you believe he should have been more calm, more judicious. He should not have read from it, and that he should have withheld some of the improper application of scripture. That's me. All right, chat. Anybody in the chat? We have Kathy says no agreement. So she's saying that Bryan
0.
I'm
We're
assuming-
exactly the opposite, Kathy and I, on that.
Yeah, so I'm thinking that Bryan, that Kathy, are you saying that Bryan doesn't agree with anything that the guy did and anything in the schools, or what? So, but Bryan, you're free to here. Hold on just a second. Let me see if I can do this. We should have done this for Erica, but I didn't. All right, Bryan, you
Yeah.
ready?
So actually, you both have aspects of it are correct. Yes, the misapplication of scripture, Aaron, was a huge red flag to me.
You said I was wishy-washy.
No, but honestly, on this one, I think that, and it has nothing to do with the street preaching as much as it does the activism. I think that he took an opportunity to make a spectacle of something that everybody already knows is a spectacle, when the answer is pull your kids out of freaking school and put them in homeschool or wherever else where you can control what they're watching and listening to. Enough of these public speeches have been had, whether it be on Second Amendment, whether it be on the garbage that's going into the school systems, whether it be on the styles that people are teaching in schools. Time to take action. Stop making speeches and go do something. I think what it says right now is, and I applaud the man's veracity in what he's saying. Okay, if it could be read, if it could be read by your 8th grader or your 3rd grader or whatever, and you don't want me to read it in public, then there's a problem with that. It should not be in a school library. Aaron, to
If
your
you,
point,
that's, yeah, I mean, I would go there. If you have to determine whether or not what's going to be available to your child in the school that you send them to is or is not going to be appropriate, you should never even consider
well, and that's
sending
the
them to the
thing.
building.
I'm all for the First Amendment, and I believe that any kind of limitation of speech in a library is counterintuitive to our Bill of Rights.
You're
So
talking about you're talking about a school library, and I know it's
that's
public,
that's
but
the
you're not
difference.
talking about a
Exactly.
public library.
Exactly, and that's where I'm with you 100%, Erica.
Hey, I said that you think they should pull out of schools too.
Yeah, you did, but it's not all libraries. I mean, if that stuff goes to the public library, that stuff goes to the public library. I'm not worried about that. But to a school library, there is no place for that type. If you know much about what he's talking about with this book, he's talking about where it goes into in-depth detail about sexual encounters between two guys. And I'm talking, and we're talking with pictures.
Oh boy.
And this was found in an elementary school library.
Elementary school libraries. All right, Brian. So you're saying you're going to do the. So who got it most right out of me or Erica?
I would have to say Erica got it most right.
Oh, that's garbage. That's absolute garbage.
Erica, take a victory lap. Go ahead. All right, when did you get a soundboard? Seriously.
I'll tell you what, man. I came back from vacation with resolutions, brother.
I guess.
All right. So I guess now tis my turn.
Your turn.
To talk about this. Tis my turn. If there's a few minutes left here for this. So this is from National Review. This article was written. So there are two things about this. The article is about Little Mermaid. First is the whether or not not necessarily sure if I'm going to get too much into that, but the secondary implication is whether or not they should have used a different character in the Little Mermaid live action, going with the going woke essentially in the movie.
Just go ahead and say
Oh my God, just say it.
Just
for
say
crying
it.
out
Just
loud.
say it.
Sorry, I got a message during the middle of
just say it,
of
though.
So I was like, but with Disney going woke, and then the first part is this guy's article that he wrote, Armand White. And the article says the Little Mermaids revoke and change agenda. So my agreement with this, and then my agreement with what they did on the actual movie remake is at hand. He says here, Disney looks like me movement politicizes entertainment. He says everything is social engineering in the new live action version of The Little Mermaid. It changes Hans Christian Andersen's Danish fairy tale, a touchstone of Western culture, and revokes its preeminence, reworking its amphibious Scandinavian heroine's image to resemble that of a biracial American teenager that suits contemporary racialized politics. This new version of The Little Mermaid reboots the unaccountability popular 1989 animated version to illustrate that Disney's indoctrination credo is no longer only for entertainment. This is how millennial industries teach stealth lessons on racial identity that also reject Western tradition. But the Little Mermaid's lesson plan isn't disingenuous. When Smiley, mop-stressed Ariel saves shipwrecked human passengers and sees Prince Eric, she is awestruck. Her infatuation traduces the complexities of interracial, interspecies, and cross-cultural attraction. And screenwriter David McGee dismisses Anderson's cultural foundation, the original invocation of Christian faith, warning against the dangers of vanity. In 1989, Ariel's transformation story was interrupted by one waggish critic as a pre-feminist Faustian myth. But McGee's notions about racial integration are vapid. McGee and director Rob Marshall followed Disney's multicultural program to win diversity, inclusion, and equity points. Ariel's 6 mermaid sisters, presumably from 6 different mothers, represent global ethnicities. This feature signaling merely clutters the fantasy, as do the underwater FX, designed to impress viewers with Avatar-style distraction. Ariel's Pinocchio-like desire to be an ambulatory human joining Prince Eric lacks the relatable specifics of social integration that distinguished Neil Jordan's superb Celtic mermaid myth Undine. Such details matter if Disney is being honest about its hope and change agenda, or if a fairy tale is to work as a spiritual, psychological, or moral metaphor. Instead, The Little Mermaid follows the formula of Disney's Black is King, Beyonce's racialist showcase and live-action reboot, and the Disney's and Marvel's pandering Black Panther movie. He says there is indeed a revoke and change agenda in the specious family extravaganza. Disney transforms its 1989 animated version of Anderson's story in such a way that its enchantment is deracinated. More care has gone into aquarium-style realism than into considering what the fantasy of otherness means. By teaching lessons and revamped by racial identity, The Little Mermaid also instills the new segregation. An ABC Disney promotional program featured a Black child who says, "She looks like me," in response to the film's advertising hype, and that's the essential intent of using Bailey's Ariel as an emblem of Disney's anti-Western diversity. It's not just anti-Western, it's also anti-art, against the idea of culture that connects us to others. The Little Mermaid is the ultimate example of selling racism to the public under the pretense of looks like me representation. So that's so far that's the article. That's the point of that. So what do I think about this guy's stance in the article regarding Little Mermaid, and what do I think about Little Mermaid's remake?
You want me to go first? Okay, I'll go first. I think that you agree with his stance in the article, and you could care less about the revamp of Little Mermaid because it's just a movie. No, that's probably what I think of it. You agree with his stance. I don't know. Why do you care? Are you like, yeah, I'm going to have to stick with my original answer. I don't, why do you care? You don't care about the second part.
Okay. Brian?
I think that you agree with him 100%. I think that you've had issues with the Little Mermaid remake, as I have since it was first published. It has nothing to do with the race as much as it does with the wokeness, how they've changed classics. And I'm just going to do since our good friend Debbie is not here today, I'm going to do hashtag Disney ruins everything.
Okay, but hold on a second. Like, that wasn't his point, right? Is that the point without you were reacting? You know what? Go ahead. Go ahead, Aaron. Just tell us who's right.
Okay, so you both think that I agree with the guy's stance in the article.
Mhm.
Ryan thinks that I hate the remake of Little Mermaid, and Erica thinks I couldn't care less.
Yeah, or
Right?
that I need to. Yes.
All right, let's go here.
I may have to adjust my impression of you based on how much you care about the remake of The Little Mermaid. But that's
Amen,
okay.
Watson, read that out that he just put in Facebook chat. Wokeness is brokenness. Amen.
All right, here we go. Oh, wait, there should be a.
Ta-da! Yeah, where's the end of that sounder?
All right, so I couldn't care less about the Ariel remake. Honestly, I don't care if they put black, white, Asian, Chinese. I don't care if they remake every Disney movie. If I want to watch The Little Mermaid, which is my oldest daughter's, one of her first initial loves of Disney movies and princesses, if I want to watch The Little Mermaid, I'm going to go watch the 1989 classic, because
Exactly.
it sans the phallus on the front cover of the VHS case, even though I have that. I couldn't care less, because to me, if somebody remakes a movie, like if somebody were to remake The Godfather, which would be blasphemy, I wouldn't watch it. I would just go watch the original. If I want to watch it, I'm going to watch the original. So I couldn't care less. If you want to remake every movie out there, I don't have to watch it. Neither do you. You don't have to.
So is your opinion all remakes are bad?
No, not all remakes are bad.
Okay.
It's just some
don't-
movies I don't think shouldn't be touched.
I don't understand how he can bring up the whole multiculturalism or cross-culturalism or whatever between the mermaid and the human when nobody says anything about the elf and the human in the Lord of the Rings. I mean, you can't like that's not is that a thing? It's
what?
fantasy. It's a fairy tale. He
Yeah,
brought
but-
up this whole like cross-culturalism
They
with
screwed up that too, though.
yeah. What? Okay.
Well, so
But nobody's mad about it. Is anyone mad? No
Oh
one's
yes,
mad
there
about
was. There was a lot of outrage on it.
About
Well,
what? The
because
Lord
it
of the Rings?
wasn't canon or because elves and humans shouldn't be mixing?
No, because it wasn't canon.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
well,
remember-
when they
right.
redid the when they added whatever the Ring of Power or whatever it was that Amazon did, and they went all woke with that one, and that wasn't Disney. They added stuff in there that brings up all kinds of issues from racial point of view, because in the original movies or the original I should say stories, you did not have the you didn't have African American excuse me, you didn't have black elves, period.
Right.
And in this new one, you do, which begs the question of
You know what I know? I'm totally victorious in this right now.
Oh, HUD.
Like,
that was the
I-
first
yeah.
half, yeah. That was the first half there. So
Round
I couldn't
one
care
goes
less
to
about
me.
it. We could talk more about remakes later, by the way.
Yeah.
But regarding this guy's article that he wrote, I think he's a freaking snowflake because he's
okay, all
acting
right.
as though we are. Oh, hold on just a second. I didn't do it. So he's acting like a total snowflake here because
Oh,
I couldn't think of any other sound effects. I got nothing else here.
That was good. Okay, go ahead.
I could do. Hold on. I could do this.
No, just stop. Just go on.
Hold on. So I honestly the guy is acting like a remake of The Little Mermaid is an attack against Western culture and that we are destroying the roots of this and blah blah. I'm like, dude, can you be any more of an over? Can you have any more of an overreaction here? It's because if we follow the whole thing, like Watson said in the comments, that woke is broke, then let them make all the woke movies they want. Let them get it out of their system. Let them have their gap year of
the free market's gonna rule.
Well,
Yeah,
it
ultimately,
dictates.
people are going to determine.
It dictates that, and I don't mind it. And I know we are moving on to bad theology, so I will only say one thing. The problem with it is that you can ignore it, but it turns into there being people out there who knock on your front door and start yelling at you that your baby girl is always dressed in pink. And they're just somebody in the neighborhood who wants to comment on how you're dressing your children and how you're already training them to be a girl when you should be letting them wear green and blue and yellow and all of that, right? So there is some effect of having this BS wokeness out there that affects us whether we pay attention to it or not.
Yeah, but coming to my doorstep is one thing where I can engage in a conversation with a person and be like, hey, well, they come on out back. We'll have some drinks. We'll sit down and we'll talk about this. We'll try to be reasonable human beings face to face, as opposed to a movie that really isn't going to garner a lot of money if it sucks.
Right.
Like we
No, I'm
see
saying
the movie.
I'm saying the movie causes the person that's coming to your door. Like the people that are affected by it, that's, they're the ones that are going to knock on your door and go there.
All right. Well, hey, there we go. That was our first try at What You Thinking. Let me know how you think about that in the comments or in the sound offs by clicking on the mic in the bottom right-hand corner at breaktbradio.com. Brian, do you have your bad theology clips ready and loaded?
I'm working on it now. Go ahead. Keep going.
All right. Well, I'm about to launch the graphic for it, bro. The intro.
Okay, go for it.
Here we go.
You're teaching some bad theology. Your bad theology's annoying me. Oh, you're teaching some bad theology. Repentance is the only cure that you need.
Folks, this is the segment where Brian, it's morphed into Brian showing me video clips and trying to make my face explode. So, Brian, you got the first one loaded up here?
I've got the first one loaded up here.
Any intro?
You're going to love this one, Aaron. As you can read from the topic, Jesus showed me a message.
Okay, go ahead, Brian.
Really cannot stop smiling today. Our God is an awesome God. He reigns
Awkward.
from heaven above. Our God is an awesome God. God is an awesome God.
You screwed up the
First
chorus.
of all, she destroys the song to begin
Thank you.
with. She doesn't even sing the right lyrics. Go ahead.
Yeah.
And I've been singing that song all morning long. Okay, so this is so exciting, guys, because Jesus gave me another message today. But it's confirming everything. It's so cool.
How long is this?
And
This is about a 10-minute clip, so we're not going to watch it all, but I've bookmarked a couple of places. Basically, what you do when you read through this or you watch this, and I want you to see a lot of them, she's just reading scripture, and she's reading all of the scripture that has a specific what's the word?
Come on, get it out.
So, like anything that's 2:22, 2:22, 2:22, Revelation 2:22, or Matthew 2:22. This is, if you haven't picked up, 2:22 is a classic here. Okay, her argument is, and we'll go on here, that Christ returns. Are you ready?
On 2:22.
On 5:23.
What?
And if you now, first of all, if you haven't figured this out, on 5:23, so we're gonna skip on here real quick.
if you want your new wineskin, you believe in Jesus Christ, guys. He is our living water. You should have the clue by now. Okay. I mean, he's given it to you so many times. All the clues are there. So
yes, all the clues are there that every single person who's tried to forecast the return of Christ has failed.
Wow. So
seek him, worship him, believe in him. It's your faith and his grace that saves you, guys. I'm so excited. Our King is coming. He's giving so many revelations, so many dreams to people. So many people have gotten the same date, May 22nd.
Okay. Now,
So
I just want to note right now the date of this broadcast.
This was on May
27th, 2023. Right now, it's May 27th, 2023. By the way, happy birthday to Chris B., who's a listener of the show. And give him a birthday shout out there. Happy birthday. I'll talk to you soon. But yeah, it's the 27th. So she was
Not
wrong.
only was she wrong, dude. Now check this out. As of yesterday, she posted another video about more words that Christ gave her.
All right, folks, that's it for the breakdown. Thanks everybody for staying with us. Hey, we're going to hang out for a few minutes of an overtime show. And if you wouldn't mind doing that as well, you can hang out with us over on YouTube and Facebook. We will be over there now. Thanks for joining us, Bryan and Erica and everybody else. Until next time, make Christ supremely valuable. All right, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us. That wasn't as bad as a cluster as I thought it was. I'm gonna stop saying cluster. I was going to say that's not as bad as an off syndicate as I thought it was going to be.
Did you see what Watson just put it in Facebook? Rich Mullins got COVID from singing the song wrong.
Yeah. Rich Mullins is half the man he used to be.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Do you know what happened to Rich Mullins, Erica?
No.
He was severed in half by a car accident.
Don't do that. That's wrong.
Yeah. But anyway, okay, so here we go. But yeah, so if you've got a couple more of those, you can play them, Bryan. But yeah, it's May 27th right now. And that woman was wrong. And I love
Here's the thing, Aaron. She posted more videos on May 23rd, 24th, 25th, and 26th.
So obviously, really, she's not concerned. The numbers don't matter.
She's not concerned that she's wrong. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that's rough.
It's actually kind of sad.
Isn't that called that? Isn't that the ignorance is bliss concept?
Well, and the thing is that she's quoting scripture. She starts every video with, "I'm proclaiming that Jesus Christ is the Son of God and that He came back to die for our sins." So what she's doing is she's trying to use the authority of scripture to give authority to her words, because what she says is, if there's a scripture that says anyone who declares that Christ is the Son of God and that he died for our sins is of God. If you remember that scripture, and I don't know exactly where that's at. Maybe Watson or Aaron can tell me where it's at because I can't remember off the top of my head. But basically, anyone who denies that Christ is the Son of God, then he's not of God. So basically, as all of this is going on, he's talking about the fact that, or she's trying to use scripture as her authoritative key that what she's about to say is of God. But the problem with that is that everything she says is wrong. So, yeah, that's
way, it's Romans. No, it's 1 John 4:15. If anyone confesses that Jesus Christ is the Son of God, God lives in them and they in God. And then the King James Version says, whoever shall confess that Jesus is the Son of God, God dwelleth in him and he in God. So that's the scripture. But this whole passage, unfortunately, is this whole woman and her teaching. People are still liking and listening and watching her. She's wrong.
Where's she getting the messages from? He's just talking to her. It's in her
No,
head.
Jesus is giving her the messages every day.
I know, but what is he texting her? Like, what is she?
No, he just speaks to her. He just
Okay.
talks to her.
Okay.
We need to talk about Bubba Wallace. I need a chance to talk about him. We'll talk about it.
Okay. Oh God.
But anyway, so Brian, do you have any more of those? Watson's saying that
I have a couple of them.
This is his favorite segment, and so I'd like to give Watson a little bit more for it, and of course everybody else I'm sure likes that too. Also, so go ahead, Brian, if you got another one up there.
I've got another one here. This is a little bit longer one. I've got to keep
a little bit longer than 10 minutes.
No, these clips are longer than I want.
I mean, gosh, the intro is longer than the clip.
That's not
that wasn't the video.
No, I'm sending the video to you now. There's two of them that I'm sharing with you, Bubba.
Sorry about that.
What's going on?
Please forgive me.
Are you ready?
Thank goodness we're not still live. Wait.
Why? Well, you covered it as we're going off track today. You would have been
biblical teachings.
Well, we just interpret them differently. I don't know. How do you interpret them?
Well, I'm just asking you because I'm just interested in the church and what you guys believe.
Sure. Well, the reason I ask is I'm here to support you on your spiritual journey.
Right.
So I teach what we believe, and you can accept whatever you want. I'm just here to support you. But I believe we're all one.
All one.
I don't care who you are. I don't care what race, color, creed, what religion you practice. We are all one in the body.
So do you believe that other religions like Islam, Judaism, do you think that they could also go to heaven? They could also go to heaven?
They're all part of God. It's very arrogant to think that we're the only ones that know about God, or that, to say that Christians are the only ones that are part of God.
So you don't think that
So Christ is arrogant because he said he was the only way.
That was the first thing I thought about, was when people make comments like that. Because at the first part of it, all churches, I genuinely think this, all churches should welcome every single person that disagrees with them, every single person that is outside of Christ, that they should absolutely welcome them. Now, there's a difference between welcoming somebody and celebrating or embracing somebody.
Agreed.
Right? So if somebody comes in there and they're like, oh, I'm a child predator, I support you on your spiritual journey. I support you where you are right now. No, here we're going to talk about this because you need to be away from my kids. Or if somebody's like, well, I'm currently, this is not my wife, this is my mistress, we just want to come to church, I support you on your spiritual journey. No, we need to have a conversation. But I would still want that person to be sitting in the seats, listening to the gospel being preached to the beloved, so they can hear the word of God and perhaps, and I'll use a King James word, peradventure, then they would hear the gospel and repent. But when it gets to the point of like, okay, well, what do you think about all these other religions? Well, Christianity is an exclusive religion. There is a teaching in the Bible. Jesus Christ says, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father but through me. He says also that he is the door, and any man that enters in through another way is a thief and a robber.
Well,
So
and the
he's
answer
pretty mean.
And to answer Jamie's question there about who would want to go to these churches, obviously it's people who know that what they're living or how they're living is anti-biblical, and they still get accepted.
wherever they get their ears tickled. I mean,
exactly. They are literally they're looking for pastors and teachers who are going to tell them what they want to hear, and that's why this movement is so big right now. Is because I can live however I want to live. I can do whatever I want to do, and the church accepts me, and they even let me be a leader. I think on a comical note, Aaron, I think it's funny that they have Betty White here as the pastor.
Betty White.
So, does she not sound like Betty White?
Yeah, you're actually right. She does kind of
come back to you.
I would be glad.
Of course. I don't want to interrupt anything.
Yeah, no, I just want to talk to them too, and then I'll come back.
Are you a fundamentalist? Or?
Fundamentalist. I'm a Christian.
Okay.
Are you a fundamentalist?
Well, the way we
so
are.
let's get back to that too, because that word has actually taken on a really negative connotation too. Believing exactly what the Bible says, like there is no gap between Genesis 1:1 and Genesis 1:2, says that you're a fundamentalist and you are just not an open thinker anymore. No, I don't want to interpret scripture and add my own stuff to it. I want it to say what it says. I don't want to have to go in and defend what the Bible says, you know? I mean, the way
the Bible says, though.
Well, I'm sorry, not defend. I don't want to have to adjust my worldview or adjust scripture to my worldview. I want to adjust my worldview to scripture. How about that? Let's put that in the proper perspective.
Absolutely.
And that's where these guys are at here. If you keep watching this video, he gets into several different conversations with different people throughout there. There's one video that I have. I think it's this one here. Let me, Aaron, I'm going to share this one with you too as well. If this is the right one, this is the right. Nope, that's not the right one. Let's see. I got two of these. The same guy. I got three of these. Pardon me. Same guy is going to different churches. Nope, that's the right one. That's the right one. Stop. There we go. Here we go. I'm gonna share this one too.
You sharing it on the?
Yep. Hang on. I'll share it. Hang on one moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, this guy he's actually defending, or he's actually talking to the same church, different group of people in the church.
Here it says evolving. Rather than resisting change, we eagerly experiment with new ways and new understandings.
Yeah.
But it says in Hebrews, God's the same yesterday, today, and forever. So there is no new understanding. There is the understanding.
So because we experience God differently, right? And he's actually going to use the comment here because of technology. Because we experience God differently, obviously our understanding of God has to change.
Experience of God has changed with technology.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
The experience of how we interact with God has changed with technology. It's also changed how we interact with one another.
So apparently God is
technology. What?
Yeah. So God actually answers email and answers Twitters now, I guess, right?
Yeah, experience is correct. I understand that. But when it comes to beliefs, you can't say, well, now I believe that God didn't resurrect.
So you believe that belief has not changed in 2,000 years?
I think that the Bible is the Word of God, inspired by God.
That wasn't the question I asked.
But I answered it through that.
I know you answered it through that. That wasn't the question I asked. I got a.
So we're gonna keep going.
All of them.
This is. I love this.
Bible's not correct.
I think the way that it has been translated and
there's only one interpretation now.
Well,
but it was translated from a totally different language than the one you're reading it in.
I love these arguments about translation because that's one of the first things that people who don't know scripture will go to. Well, the Bible has been mistranslated for years. Don't you know that? Aren't you stupid enough to know that you can't possibly translate correctly from one language to another?
I mean, there's different translations, but all of them either say homosexuality in Hebrew.
Or Hebrew. And if you go back into those two languages, there are many, many words for the same word that we want to use.
So are you saying that the Bible's inaccurate?
Yes.
Okay, so you're not.
That's dangerous right there.
Well, that's the foundation of all of this.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, if somebody rejects the scriptures as being true, then they're going to use whatever argument they can.
Exactly.
To then supplement their belief and their understanding there.
Sorry.
No, that's all right. I mean, that's what it comes down to. I mean, you're going to find you're going to find whatever excuse that you can to make your belief fit. people have
But
restroom
it's
devices all the time.
preposterous. Like, how do they seriously are able to say that and think it's just completely warped. It's completely warped.
It is completely warped, and I don't know. I don't know your thoughts on James White, Aaron, but I will say I was watching him and Jeff Durbin on Apologia Radio the other day when they absolutely obliterated Brandon Roberts. And first of all, I have to give kudos to Brandon because he actually showed up to the interview. Okay, so he did a Zoom call with these guys, and he was discussing how that people like James White, who have been studying Scripture in Greek and Hebrew since before I was probably born, have got the translations all wrong, and that the Bible does actually promote and actually celebrate same-sex unions. And he just ripped them apart. But let's go. I want you to hear the rest of this guy because there's a guy in here that, again, typical. He white knights this organization. So listen to this.
Deny the words of God. And if we're going to say that God is an all-knowing God, then I trust that over time God made the Bible accurate. And I feel like we all should.
All right. Well, there is no word in Hebrew or Greek in the Bible for homosexuality. It doesn't exist.
You're telling me homosexuality didn't exist?
Do you read Greek?
Did homosexuality exist in those times?
Stop putting words in my mouth.
It's a question.
Read Greek?
Did homosexuality exist?
You don't read Greek.
Why is he so hostile? I'm just asking questions.
You don't know the Bible.
No, did homosexuality exist during that time?
Do you read Aramaic?
Can you answer the question?
Do you read Aramaic?
Say that again.
It's existed forever.
It's existed forever. Okay, so why is it not in the Bible?
You're saying the Bible says homosexuality is bad. The Bible never speaks about homosexuality.
It's in the Bible. Go open your Bible. It says it.
Find me the word homosexuality in the Hebrew,
in the NIV, in the KJV, in the ESV, in the Hebrew and Greek. So we already.
That's like asking if we could find the word dinosaur in Job. That word was not invented until 1829 or something like that. So of course it's not going to show up in the Bible. But it doesn't mean they didn't talk about them.
Addressed. There's other words for that.
No.
Sexual immorality,
Absolutely
homosexuality.
Absolutely
You're just denying the word of God then.
I am telling you it's not in the Bible.
I would ask that guy because his question was, do you read Greek? Do you read Hebrew? Do you read Aramaic? I would ask him, do you read Greek? Do you read
I was thinking the exact same thing, Aaron. Exactly.
If you're going to hold me to that standard, then you have to be at the same standard because you're getting your information from a third party. I'm getting my information you claim from a third party. So I'm asking you the same question. Let's hold ourselves to the same standards if we're going to do that.
Right.
I mean, this kid, yeah, he holds himself together pretty well.
And he's defending his argument very well because all he's doing is he's saying, I'm not making assessments. I'm making assertions. I'm telling you what it says. You're telling me that it can't say this.
I would just like to say, if you guys would like a church that teaches God, I'd love to show you guys. I can give you guys a church. I'd love for you to experiment.
You have nothing to answer.
I've already answered your question.
You read Greek.
Why are you so angry?
You don't.
What happened to love thy neighbor? This isn't loving thy neighbor. So homosexuality's always existed. It's in the Bible. It's sexual immorality. It's homosexuality. And the fact that you guys can't accept that is wrong. So are you saying the Bible's inaccurate?
I am saying...
Answer the question. Do you think the Bible's inaccurate?
I am saying that you keep spouting the same sentences over and over again.
Is the Bible inaccurate?
You don't have a discussion.
You don't tell my people to do anything.
What do you mean, sir?
What you just did.
What did I do?
You disrespected him. It's
How?
what you do. You're being disrespectful. You're being disrespectful.
I'm just asking questions.
No, you're not.
I'm just asking questions.
I know what you're doing. Get out of my church.
Mark 16:15.
I don't care what Mark says right now.
You should.
So where in the Bible does it tell you to come into a church and treat people like this?
No, actually Ephesians 5:11 says expose false fruits.
Oh, it's false fruits, or you can expose them outside.
Okay, I'll go outside.
Yeah, go outside.
Can you speak with me?
No, I can't. I'm not going to speak with you anymore.
Mark 16:15 says, "Go into the world, preach the gospel of creation."
Get out.
I don't know why he's so hostile.
Get out.
I'm just asking questions.
Yeah, and we've answered your questions multiple times.
I know that the guy's like, I don't know why you're being so hostile. Well, first,
I know
what you're doing is kind of douchebaggery. You're going into a church when they're gathering and you're doing all of this stuff. You're disrupting them. This is private property. They've asked you to leave. You should leave. Right? Very simple, very respectful. You should leave.
Isn't that in the Bible?
there's a right time and a right place. Okay, you can
Everything can be
engage in
done decently and in
conversations. You
order.
can call the
Correct.
pastors and you can talk to them if they want to speak to you about that. But I mean, yeah. So in this circumstance, yeah. I mean, now what's funny is he's like, you don't disrespect my people, and then all the while yelling in this guy's face, telling him to get out. That's disrespectful. You could have found a more respectful way. So if we're trying to treat people the way we want to be treated, you can simply go to him and say, look, I understand what you're trying to do here. I would appreciate it if you did it at another time. Maybe we can have a conversation or lunch or something like that. Because think about if you're standing in your church, Bryan, and somebody came in and did the exact opposite of what this guy's doing, but acting just as cordial, because the guy wasn't being unfriendly. But let's say somebody comes into your church and starts doing the opposite, telling you that that what the Bible calls sin is actually not sin, and that the Bible is been mistranslated and we can't trust it, and blah blah blah, this and that. You would go to the person.
Why can't you just say that we're all here currently in fellowship with each other, and if this is something you'd like to discuss with me, I'd be happy to make an appointment with you, and you can come back and talk about it, and we can maybe even talk about it with other members. But right now we're in the middle of this, and it's not the right time. I don't know. Like, isn't there a better way to do it?
Well, again,
I believe that there
this
is.
has been this is my intrepidation with the whole street preaching thing, because me and Aaron have talked about this before. I think when you're standing out on the street corner and you're interrupting everybody's day and you're drawing attention, or you're being, as Aaron said, you're being a little invasive. I don't think that's the right time to try to get a hold of people's attention.
Yeah, because you're not going to be very productive.
You're not going to be very productive. You're not.
But
now,
street preaching is different. But go ahead.
But that's what I'm talking about. So this guy, I think he did this wrong. I have another acquaintance of mine who, when COVID hit, he said God told him to start going just randomly to churches and explaining how they're all apostate. And so he would just drive through the county and he'd find a church and he'd go in and tell them how everything they're doing in teaching is wrong. Well, first of all,
Hey,
you come
we
into
know
my
some people
church,
like that.
huh?
No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
I didn't hear what you said. Sorry.
Please don't listen to me. Continue.
Okay. So, anyways,
don't listen to me when I talk on a radio show.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Don't listen to me when I'm speaking in public. But anyway, so he would go from church to church and he would explain their apostasy, standing in the front of their in the front of their vestibule, or their whatever the opening of the church would be called. And so the issue that I'm having there is that when it's all said and done, there's a time and place. If I have a problem with the church, if I have a problem with the pastor, what they're teaching, I'm all about going and talking to that individual or talking to that church. But there's a time and place to do it. There's a way to do it. And what this guy is doing, I disagree with. I don't like the way he does it, but he's making some very obvious points that you can't really deny.
That's hey Deb, how are you? Deb just dropped in.
What's up,
nice
Debbie?
That's thank goodness not about Bryan or his beard. Hashtag to break down rocks. Thank you so much for that, Debbie. So let me go ahead here. I'm going to play this, Bryan. I'm going to drop this video in here as well. I thought this was pretty fascinating, and not that it's going to bring, not that I want it to go to a certain level here, but this looks so cool. This guy was filming and has found what appears to be 2 flying objects around the moon. Check this out. There's the moon. Zoomy, zoomy, zoom. Zoom moon. Moon zoom. The zoom, zoom moon. What the heck is that? You see that there? Come on, I'm not the only one that's impressed by this.
No, that's
you look so indifferent right now.
I mean,
I'm looking at it to see what it is. I can't tell.
I don't know enough about the tricks of cinematography at this point to know what, like, can you do that? Can you put that in the video? Because it looks like a miniature space shuttle, kind of, but I mean, I don't know. I'm the person that thinks there might be a military base on the dark side of the moon. So,
Well, I'll be honest with you, Erica. I took a picture with my camera like he's doing, and I don't know if that's a cell phone or not.
No, it's probably like a Nikon or something like that.
Well, I've actually used my cell phone camera and got a very, very close picture like that, and everybody's like, "Well, you know, that's all AI, right? That's just
Yeah,
AI."
I think it looks fake.
Well, the moon itself looks fake sometimes when you zoom in on it like that. But look at those aircrafts. I mean, I want to see if one lands or goes behind it. If it goes behind it, it went behind it.
It
I
went
think
to
it
the
looks
military
fake.
base on the dark side of the moon, just like she said. Come on,
It
get it
looks
right, guys.
fake. They don't look real.
Are you serious, Eric? You think it's fake, but you think that there is
Well, you have to realize, Erica, there is no dark side of the moon because it's actually a flat surface that's turned up on its end.
There is no dark side of the moon, really. As a matter of fact, it's old, Eric. What's that
Stop
from?
it.
It's a flat disc that's turned up on its end, so it looks round to us, but we know it's really not. I mean,
Who believes in a flat moon? That sounds stupid, Brian.
Oh, so we have a flat Earth, but not.
Oh, but right.
Okay.
No, that's why
Everything else in the entire solar system
Everything else
is round, but we
not the
are
Earth,
flat.
though. Not the Earth. Because
let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. You're standing in a room. When's the last time you looked up at the lighting fixture to determine the shape of the room you're in?
I'm sorry, Jamie's got the answer, by the way. So the moon is plasma.
I know she says that. I see that there. But the answer,
Jamie, I'm sorry, you're
when
wrong.
a person
The
looks
moon
at
is made of cheese.
When Mac the Moon Man is up there.
That's it. The
When
moon
you
is
look at-
it's Swiss cheese.
Why don't people say, oh, well, everything, you look at a tree and the leaf is a different shape. Well, why is the tree the same shape? God can't create different shapes in the environment. God can't create different
You're right.
shapes.
He can. He sure can.
Why? But you're using
The
you're
Earth is
using
the only thing
circular
that he
reasoning.
made flat, though. The Earth
You're
is the
using
only thing he
circular
made flat.
reasoning.
The moon is round. The sun is round. Mars and Jupiter are round. But the Earth is flat. Let's get that right. The
You're
Earth
using
is flat.
circular logic. Your logic is flawed.
No, you're right.
Yes.
Circular logic. Actually, I'm using global logic. Is what it is.
Yeah, you're using global logic there because you're assuming the answer in your question, man. You're using false logic. Now, I'm not trying to fight for the Earth being flat right now, but use proper logic. Just because something else
I'm
is
just
shaped a
messing with
different
you.
way,
It's
I know,
a lot
but
of fun.
a lot of people do that. They're like, well, why? Well, just because there's a lot of things, different shapes and different creations in the universe.
He's talking to me, Brian. I'm the one who said everything else is round, but
Yes.
he's not talking to you. He's talking to me.
Right,
And Watson, you're
Erica,
absolutely right.
I'm
I don't think
pointing
storming
right
the stronghold.
at you.
I don't think storming the stronghold is the correct process. You're absolutely right, but I do agree we should be calling people out. But I agree we need to do it properly, 100%.
So Erica, tell me more about this. You believe there's a base on the dark side of the moon?
Come on. I'm being.
She's being facetious.
Somewhat facetious, yes.
Well, you said somewhat. I mean, because I think it's fascinating to talk about that. Jeez, oh, Pete, you all bunch of closed-minded
Okay,
bigots.
no, I'm not. So here, my mother. I was born in 1970. Okay, and from 1961 to 1970 or 60 or 72, my mother worked for NASA, and my dad was stationed in DC in the United States Navy. He was an officer, and I know that my mother had a higher security clearance than my dad did. And I know that, I always try to ask questions, right, about it,
So your
and
mother is part of the conspiracy, is what you're saying.
well, I try to determine what her side of this argument is, like how she feels about it or whatever. Keep in mind now, my mother is now, she'll be 83 in August, so she says things now at 83 that if I wasn't thinking about it, I would be like, "Well, mom's losing it," right? Like, well, yeah, at 83, I expect maybe
Maybe just the filter's
your
gone.
memory of the details aren't as clear, but sometimes she'll say things that I'm like, "Huh, that's a different answer to the question than I got a while ago."
I need to interview your mom on the Breakdown Paranormal Files.
For real?
I would. I mean, if she's like starting to let things slip, especially. But yeah,
But that's my opinion, is that she's starting to let things slip. It's not her thinking she's doing that. I don't know.
So, Mama, misinformation. Your daughter says your mind is slipping, and we might be able to get some NASA secrets.
Yeah,
Let's
don't
talk
get me in
about your
trouble,
mind.
man. But like she met the astronauts that say that they landed on the moon, or like she was there. She was there. She knew about the nuclear missiles that were lost on the floor of the ocean. And my dad came home from work, and my mom was like, "So you guys lose something today?" I mean, she knew some shit.
That's now.
And-
Now look. Go ahead, Brian. If you
I-
need to go pee, go ahead and go pee. Brian's telling us he needs to do a nature break in the private chat. But if you need
So
to
her
go,
answers, you know, like now if I say something to her, like, come on, mom, tell me. You can tell me we didn't really go to the moon, right? You could tell me, right? Like you could tell me everybody knew, you guys all signed the agreement, non-compete, non-disclosure, whatever you want to call it, back in the day, and everybody got a chunk of cash, right? And she was like, What do you expect me to say? I'm like, wait a minute, that's a different answer than we absolutely landed on the moon. Or, you know, like I'll say something like, you know, Mom, Buzz Aldrin got older and he started to say some things that might indicate that maybe it was all shot on a soundstage. She was like, a pretty good one. Like, wait, what? But so her answer would be, it would have had to, it was a pretty good soundstage. Huh? Like, is she joking?
It's like, wait, whoa, Mom, hold on just a second.
Is she joking with me, or is she now being like, yeah, it was a pretty damn good soundstage? It's like as if she's now it's common knowledge, or there's just no filter there anymore. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that could be it. I mean, it could be the fact that like she's thinking, what are they going to do to an 83-year-old woman? Are they going to come and put me in jail for breaking a non-compete?
Or she's not even thinking that it's a secret.
Oh,
she's
yeah.
83. She's just talking to me.
She's like, I got to get some stuff out here, Erica.
Or she just thinks it's always been that way. Like we've always talked about it. What do you mean?
Yeah, I mean,
what
like,
do you mean? What do you mean?
Yeah, Buzz Aldrin
Right?
had a lot of
You
those
know?
things, several of those slips as well on that, which is pretty fascinating. But regardless, I mean, because here's I know that I joke around a lot about this whole flat Earth thing, and I've said before, I've been honest with every person I've interviewed on my show about it. I've been honest with my audience here and over at Paranormal Files. I've told them, you know, I'm a 51%er. I think something is amiss. Something is definitely not right. Something is off.
Something's missing.
Now, I mean, when you talk about UFO disclosure, like the government disclosure, et cetera, my thoughts on that are, I believe that there's a psyop going on with the government. Like either they know there are aliens and they're releasing so much information to make it people think that there actually aren't because the government's releasing it, or they are trying to flood and fear and make people think there's so much information you can't actually weed through it and discern what's going on. All of that, I think, is kind of a part of the government psyop there. Regardless, I keep an open mind. You know, I've talked to people about Planet X, about Nibiru around.
My mother will absolutely agree with you and discuss the fact with you that government psyops are real and effective and have been used. She will not deny that at all. She won't deny that at all.
I would love to have you and your mom on the show, the Paranormal Files, to talk about this because I love Star Trek. Right, that is the best show ever. I love that show. Wow, did I just say that out loud? That's the best show ever. It's one of the greatest, I think. But anyway, the philosophy behind it and the idea that there are strange new worlds, that there are other civilizations that exist in the universe, that is difficult for me to just give up. Like, oh, well, there's a firmament. There's no such thing as outer space. That's tough. I'm like, gosh, that's really tough because that is a huge lie for them to have to cover up, that there is no outer space. Now, I know that the whole flat Earth thing with talking about extraterrestrial, meaning outside of our terrestrial
why
area.
cover it up? That's my question.
Well,
like, why are we? Wait a minute. Is Bryan in the bathroom listening to us and commenting in YouTube?
Is he really?
Yes.
If he's in the bathroom commenting on YouTube, then that means
didn't he say he had a nature break?
Well, that means both of his hands are free, so he's probably dropping a deuce. Way to go, Bryan. I hope everything comes out okay. He gets so embarrassed when you talk about that stuff. It's like nobody.
Well, then don't go in the bathroom and comment on YouTube.
Yeah, like nobody knows Bryan poops. You know, the bearded poopster. But yeah. I mean, but giving up outer space is tough for me to do. You know, especially because Bryan's got all those Klingons around here. But but I love those conversations with people, especially somebody at NASA that may know a thing or two. About
that's what I'm saying is like why cover it up though? Like what's the point in the whole cover up?
Do you really want to
world domination, foreign government power?
It is so
like it somehow benefits you to tell people it's round when it's not. Why the cover up? Because
in the globe Earth model, the logic that this is what it follows. Bryan, that's why there's a private chat. Well, Bryan,
I knew he was going to call you out for announcing that he was going to the.
Bryan, you're not
in our private chat.
Right you're chatting right now on YouTube. People know that you
Yeah,
are
but they only
sitting
know
on
that
a
he was in the
toilet with
bathroom
your hands.
because you said it out loud that he was taking a nature break.
But anyway, so the the idea behind the globe Earth, the lie that they say what the lie is. I'm not saying I believe this. I'm just giving you the information as I've studied and researched. I'm sure people can drop in there. Is that without the globe Earth, there is no Big Bang. Without the Big Bang, we have to admit that there's a God. So by creating a globe Earth, we've created outer space, other aliens, we've created the Big Bang, we've created evolution. Therefore, we've taken away God's special creation and our uniqueness as human beings. So we're hiding the creator from humanity is pretty much the gist, the basis of that. And so but the problem is, and I've been evangelizing and preaching for 20 plus years. I've yet to come across a person out on the streets just walking around saying the Bible is false and God doesn't exist because the earth is round. I've never come across that. So people like, well, this is the argument. Now, am I saying I disagree with it? I'm saying it's a plausible argument. To follow that logic, I understand what you're trying to say there. I'm not dismissing it. I'm just saying that's their argument. And I do have some issues with it regarding, some of the logic that's there. But regardless, I think there's issues on both sides. But I think listening to, I just bit my tongue. I think listening to the conversation is really important. Like, I'm not going to shut somebody down that believes in a hollow earth or that believes that there are reptilians that live on Mars or that believes they time travel. I'm not going to shut somebody down like that
No,
because the way
I'm
I am,
fine
I'm
with
fascinated by it.
I'm fine with talking about all of it, but okay, so there's two ways that one, I I'm if I just want to be able to have a discussion. I don't want the person to have it I don't want to shove down my throat that what I think is wrong and what they think is right. Like I'm just trying to
Yeah.
see what other people think, right? And what's wrong with that. But then there's also like sort of an acceptance, like you've got to accept it one way or the other, or you can't have the discussion.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
like I just don't think that. How are you going to ever come to resolution, even yourself, even if you're just out there looking for answers for yourself? If you can't just take things in and not make a judgment on them right away, then you're not going to be able to make any discernments of your own. I don't know.
Exactly. And then you shut down that bridge of communication. Like if somebody looks at you and they say, well, I question the shape of the earth. Well, you're a stupid moron. Well, you've just shut down that bridge of communication. Brian, did you wash your hands for 20 seconds thoroughly?
Of course.
Okay, good deal. Everything come out okay?
Man, I took a load off.
Dude, that was, oh my God. What?
See, I can play the too.
So gross, Pastor.
Oh my gosh.
Hey,
Okay.
God, it was God's idea.
Just a side note. I grew up this pastor, this church I used to go to, he would always call me urine.
Jamie, I am going to reach out to you and Jen and Kathy and everybody else who is doing the Bible reading thing so we can touch base. I wanted to do it sooner, but I've been insane with real life, which I know is not an excuse, but I am doing my Bible reading
I love you, Watson.
more than 4 times a week. I will tell you that. And I will also tell you that it's extremely debilitating. And I am mad at both Bryan and Aaron for not telling me how really difficult it might be for me. Overall.
Finally, thank you for including me on that. I felt like I was being left out because you kept saying, I'm mad at you, Brian. And I'm like, hey, I encouraged it
Well,
too.
Bryan was the one who was like, he, this is going to be fun. He, he was
Now,
the
wait a
one
minute.
who
I
was
was
all
not making
crazy
fun of
about
you.
What?
I was not making fun of you. I was excited.
No.
and
You weren't making fun of me. You were just like, this is going to be good because she has
This is gonna
no
be
idea
wonderful,
what she's
yeah.
in for. And I'm just going to sit back and watch the fireworks.
Exactly. But
Right.
So the thing about it is, honestly, and you need to understand this, I think it's important for you to get that what you're experiencing is not abnormal.
I'm not saying that. Well, you know what? You're right. I can't say that it would be the same for everybody because I did go into it with a very open mind, and I
But
think
science says that you're not, that it is not abnormal. That's the thing. That was the whole point of the conversation, and it's been backed up by a couple of different studies that we've seen already. So
think
what
it
Aaron
also
talked about on the radio a couple of weeks ago, and what you accepted the challenge for, and then 2 weeks later, there are articles being published in some of the circles that I'm in and things like that. This is not abnormal at all.
No, I don't think I don't, although I will find out, right? I mean, if there's four of us, how many out of the four of us are experiencing any, I mean, but it's different. Kathy probably reads scripture all the time. Jen goes to church every week, I think. Like we're at different places in the experience. So will it be the same for everybody? I don't know. God help. I hope that not everyone is as angry as I am. You should
Well,
all
so
be much happier. Please do not be angry like me.
I'm going to just make a statement. The way that you're attributing it to anger, I think it's more of a.
No, I'm specifically angry about stuff, right? Like I
Okay.
have a lot of losses. I have a lot of specific tragedies that don't apply to everyone. And I didn't realize that I was still so angry
Fair enough.
in specific with God specifically
Understood.
over those
Fair
issues.
enough.
And I wasn't prepared for that.
Yeah, and I don't think it's so much. Correct me if I'm wrong here. It's not so much making you angry; it's exposing those.
That's it.
Those cracks in the porcelain teapot.
Completely,
Those
yep.
things where you're like, maybe you've kind of hid away and you've not thought about, or that you've not realized have had an impact on certain areas in your life as much.
Well, I'm done with it. I'm done. I'm done with it. So or like that would have been like, are you okay? Yeah, I'm done with it. I'm done with it. But now I'm not done with it. Well,
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I didn't make that deal,
But
right?
being done and being healed are two different things.
Okay, now I never said healed.
No,
I
I'm
did.
just
I
saying
never.
that.
I never said that. So,
But I think what Aaron just said is tantamount to the difference between us putting something on the back burner and not thinking about it versus dealing with it, healing from it, and moving on.
Yeah.
There's a huge difference.
So essentially what
well,
it
there's
is
that, and then, but I attribute the same thing with okay, how much of those tragic incidents and me trying to turn to my faith and then finding out that what I believed was crackpot or somewhat crazy led to me additionally being angry, right? Like I have different levels of how effed up are you going on here, but it's okay.
But I think the cool part about this
That's
is,
amazing, though.
That's what I was going to say. The cool part about this is that you're seeing it from simply exposure. You don't have some teacher shoving down their thoughts or their doctrine, into your brain or into your heart. This is you just exposing the Word of God to your life and watching what it does. And
that was my point
is
about
amazing.
Doing it randomly, right? Like
Mhm.
without direction. I'm not doing to read this, then this, then this. I'm not doing that. And then there's also I don't have any intent. I really just wanted to go, okay, they're saying if you read scripture at least 4 times a week and you have an open mind and you contemplate it, if you seriously think about what you read, not try to apply it, not try to make a decision, not try to decide whether it's right or it's wrong, if you just think about it, that it will make you a better person. That was the only, so I think you have to do it without intent and with an open mind.
I finally see
I don't
what
know.
you're saying on that, because it's like it was almost like a switcheroo. Like, hey, read this and you're going to be a nice person, but you didn't realize like how deep do you have to go? What do you have to repair? What has to be healed to get to that nice person? It's like, hey, here's point A and here's point B, and there's a nice little vertical line or horizontal line
Correct,
between.
because that's what the article implied. That's where it started. It didn't say anything about how
excavating your past or your life or your hurts
or any
or
of that.
trauma.
It didn't even say bring Kleenex. Come on,
And
let's be
you know what would be
serious.
awesome, Erica? And I don't know if you'd be up for this, and you don't have to answer on the air, but what would be really awesome is if once you go through this and you get comfortable with where this is going, and I think eventually you will. I think, I could be wrong, but I would love to have an in-depth conversation with you about those experiences and how you felt them changing. Because I think that this only gives credence to what science, number one, has said. Number two, what the church has been trying to tell people for years. And number three, as a pastor, what I tell my people all the time: stop waiting for Sunday morning to read the Bible. Get in it every day. I tell people, challenge me on what I say from the pulpit. I don't mean like being a jerk about it, but I mean
like that one dude from the video earlier.
Yeah, but if you have a question, let's sit down and talk about it. I tell people, I love to preach. I have no problem. I love to preach. It's something I'm passionate about.
You should do something with that.
But my favorite part of being a pastor is the teaching and the discipleship. Yeah. I mean, I love having the pulpit. I love being able to stand up and give this nice long presentation. I love everything about that. But where I feel like that I shine the most is on the one-to-one or in the small groups where we're sitting and we can have actual discussions and people are open to discussing things, asking questions, dare I say even debating scripture, going back and forth and having those conversations. One of the most productive events in my life has been the ongoing conversation me and Aaron's had for the last 15 years that's helped me become a little bit more reformed in who I am.
And
Do you know why though? Okay, so
and
there's
he
a difference.
was kind of a jerk. No, he wasn't kind of a jerk. He was a real jerk.
You think I'm an
There's
now?
There's a difference between you and Aaron being able to have an ongoing discussion of that nature and me and you having an ongoing discussion about that nature, right? I don't have the same working knowledge of scripture
Understood.
that you have, right? So whereas where you can point to certain things and say, well, but what about this? Or but here it says this, or that I can't do that.
But that's amazing. I think that that's such a benefit.
It is.
My wife didn't grow up in church, and I've told her this before. She didn't grow up really going to church on a regular basis. They went on holidays and such. And this is no knock against her family at all. But by the time that we met, I was a I'm Pentecostal evangelist, so there was a lot of things that I did wrong. I hope to goodness some of those tapes of me preaching never reach public consumption.
Oh, they will.
And
I have them.
she didn't grow up in a tradition. So when the Lord really took me out of where I grew up at and, walked me through this spiritual journey and changed me for the better, I believe, to this other thing, she came right along with me. And it was so easy for her because she was not ensconced in a tradition she grew up with. And dare I say, her lack of knowledge about the Bible was not as traumatic a shift or change for her. And I know that you grew up Catholic. I know that you had that kind of background. But the point I'm trying to make is the fact that you don't have as deep a theological understanding as Bryan does is a benefit.
Yes.
Because you're not looking at it from a lens of a reformed perspective or a charismatic perspective. You're looking at it as a woman who has had trauma, who has been affected by grief and loss, and has also had some pretty amazing points in your life. You've been very successful with a lot of things you've done. You're looking at it as a person, as a woman that wants to become more like Christ. And you don't have all of that theological baggage behind you. So that journey, so many people take that journey and so many people follow that. And watching you take that transformation, I think it's going to be amazing because it's going to be like a completely fresh perspective.
I do think too, it's different than having like when you say you put the article out there and I took it as a challenge or whatever, right? But it wasn't a challenge in the sense of I was trying to prove it wrong. If that's the way that you're going to go into it, I think you'll prove it wrong. If you're going to go into it and say that that can't possibly be right, I don't agree with it. If that's the way that you're doing it, that's what you're going to get out of it.
And I want to go one step further on what Aaron said and kind of edit it. You said the deep theological understanding that I had. No, I was traditional understanding. So it's not until you actually get into the Bible and start reading it for yourself that theology comes into play. I agree that as Christians, especially as Christian parents and teachers, we need to indoctrinate our people. We need to give them we need to give them guidance and direction. But I think where we get into a lot of trouble, especially in my upbringing, is it's not from the Bible. It's from, well, this is what grandma says. Yeah. Or this is what the pastor says, or this is what the church has always said. And I think that's where the problem comes in, is where we need to focus as parents, as Christians, as teachers, as discipleship leaders, focus on the Word of God and not your own personal beliefs.
And when we were started talking about this, Erica, looking back, reflecting upon your stuff, have you all ever seen Good Will Hunting?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you're in the chat, I'm going to show this clip real quick because it made me think about this, which I thought was just
tremendous. There's a lot of F-bombs in that movie.
It's not that. It's not
okay.
that. This right here. Oh, hold on a second.
I did.
Hold on.
Is that why I broke up with Skylar?
I didn't know you had.
I did.
You want to talk about it?
No.
Hey, Will. I don't know a lot. You see this? All this shit. It's not your fault. Look at me, son. It's not your fault.
I know.
It's not your fault.
I know.
No, you don't. It's not your fault. Hmm?
I know.
It's not your fault.
All right.
It's not your fault. It's not your fault. Don't fuck with me.
I'm sorry.
It's not your fault.
Don't fuck with me, all right? Don't fuck with me, Sean. Not you.
It's not your fault. It's not your fault.
I mean, that sort of put me in mind of.
Yep.
Talking about that previously. You know. That movie.
Okay, well, I mean, let's not go there. Jeez.
Well, I mean, like that's one of those movies where, like, I every now and then I just
Erica, do you need a hug?
No.
This whole time, I'm not going to lie. This whole time, Erica, I'm watching your chin because if I start to see a quiver, I'm going to like swoop in with a story about Mars or Saturn or something like that.
No, I'm
He's
not.
gonna redeem himself real fast, right?
I'm
Yeah.
not really one to burst into tears, but like I told you, I mean, I went to fire someone and ended up telling them to soul search and get back to me later. Like that's not a normal thing. And I told you, for me, it's more about like I'm not interested in losing my edge. I'm interested in being a better person, not a softer person. So like how what does that look like? That's all. But I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to say that if you did this, it wouldn't make you cry, because it will. But for me, it's more out of frustration at this
But
point.
the thing is, Erica, and that's one of the things that I've been so excited about since you told me that, is not that you're a softer person, but that you are recognizing there's an effect that's changed or something that's happened, and you're attributing it to the scripture you're reading.
I don't have anything else to attribute it to.
Well, no, but I think that's
I
good.
mean, I could make something up if you want me to. Be like, oh, it's the weather. It's nicer out. I can open the windows. There's more sun, more vitamin D.
Self-awareness is very the self-awareness is very refreshing, and I think it's awesome to understand that to me is, because ever since I've known you, you really don't know me, and then we go over to the Off Track Syndicate. Really, she's that, you're having, yeah. I mean, so I don't know if you're just really trying to hide who you are around us, or if these guys think you're a whole lot worse than what you are, or if it's somewhere in between. But I'm going to say this: the fact that this is making a change, and I'm not going to be the jerk that Kenzie would say I am. I think it's amazing.
I'm not hiding anything. I just am telling you there's a very different side. There is a Boston and there is an Indiana. Like, I grew up in Boston. The way that I talk, the words that I use, they're very in general.
So the Bible's bringing out more Indiana in you?
In general conversation, right? Like that I am very open, but I'm not an idiot. I also do public speaking. I also know that you can't just use those words and talk like that in everyday conversation, especially in public. Know your audience. Don't be a fool, whatever. But yeah, and so when I said to Aaron, you do not want me on this show, like I'm like, I'm not, because you could talk to people who know me and they'll be like, she is not self-aware, she's not open-minded, she's not but they they get what they get, because I don't have time to show everybody everything. So there's that.
So let's do y'all don't mind if we do a little change of pace here, get the spotlight off you, Erica, so you can take a breath?
Yeah, I'll give you like 9 minutes, and then I probably need to like focus on graduation and people coming to visit and all that good stuff.
Anytime you need to take off. Where I was gonna talk here about we got this, by the way. It's just because of our previous conversation, the James Webb Space Telescope has spotted the biggest water plume yet, spewing from a moon of Saturn. The huge watery cloud spurting from Enceladus could carry the ingredients for life farther into space than previously known. Yet we can see watery clouds spurting from a moon of Saturn, but we still can't get a clear image of the American flag on the moon. That's all I'm going to say. Why can't we get a clear shot of the flag on the moon? The other story I wanted to jump to real quick is this last week during the race. Yes, I am a NASCAR fan, and y'all can make your stupid jokes. I don't care. But during the race last week, Bubba Wallace was driving. He actually came in second place in that race to Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson dominated the majority of the race. It was rather, I mean, it was an okay race. I mean, as far as like excitement, not a lot of that happening. But during his race, someone hacked. Did y'all hear about this? Someone hacked his radio.
What?
And, yeah. So now it appears he didn't hear this. But every one of the drivers have communications so they can hear their spotter and their crew chief, and they're talking constantly throughout the race about strategy, working with other drivers, et cetera, from their spotters and all that. So they know when to pit, when to go back out, if there's any issues with the car, what they need to adjust when they come back into the pit stop, et cetera. Well, during the race, someone hacked into his radio, and NASCAR has launched an investigation into it. And here's what the people said on the radio: "Go back to where you came from, you a-hole. You're now wanted in NASCAR." Now, if those of you who don't know, Bubba Wallace is currently the only black driver in NASCAR. There's no indication that Bubba heard this during the race. Okay. He didn't say anything about it in his post-race interview, nor on any of the social media feeds he made immediately after the race. So somebody evidently he found out another time is what we're able to gather here. And NASCAR has launched this investigation into it, and they're calling this, a racial epithet. They're saying that this person was coming against Bubba and essentially being racist and trying to have him trying to, be disrespectful towards him. So I'm not sure if you all heard about this or not. That phrase, "go back to where you came from," historically has been used in, there's a cat behind you, by the way, Erica. There has been, is it in the chair with you?
Yeah, now he is.
Freaking cats think they own everything. But that statement has historically been used as a way to make people to be said of people of color, to make them feel uncomfortable, or to make a kind of a microaggression, if you will, about racism. So I don't know. I wanted to drop that in there because a lot of people are talking about that. Now, within the NASCAR world, the sports world, people are saying Bubba Wallace is a crappy driver. He can't drive at all. He can't race. That's actually not true.
That's irrelevant, though, if this
Completely
is
irrelevant.
actually going on. Like, that's
Exactly.
ridiculous.
Yep.
You know?
People try
His
to
name is
justify
Bubba
it.
Wallace, where he came from is Alabama. Where's he from? I mean, what do you mean?
He's from Mobile.
Right.
Yeah, he's from Mobile, Alabama.
Go back where you came from. I mean, it's dumb to say it. I mean, it's definitely not right, but it just makes you look stupid to say something like that.
Well, real quick, think about this. Currently, he's 15th in the ranking. So each year, the NASCAR drivers, they have points. So the point
Right.
standings, and everybody's
You're
ranked. because
so
of
mansplaining NASCAR to me right now. This is great.
it wasn't necessarily to you. I know Bryan he's not a sports guy, so I'm just making sure.
Yeah, because driving a car really fast in one direction a lot is a sport.
I'm not gonna give attention to those microaggressive comments by
Oh, that
people
wasn't micro.
who are very.
That was right out there.
But anyway,
Get out there, keep turning left, get back here as fast as you can.
you know what? That's awfully funny when sedentary people make comments about athletes. That's hilarious. So, are you done yet, man? Are you done yet? Erica's only got like 3 minutes left.
That was awesome. Can I use that?
Yes, you can.
Okay, good. Oh, wow.
Both of you people suck. I don't know why I have you on this show. So Bubba Wallace right now is 15th in the driver standings. He's 293 points. He's raced 13 races so far, like everybody has. He's raced 13 races. He's had 4 DNFs, which is did not finish. Out of those 13 races, 4 were DNFs. 7, he got 4 top 10s and 3 top 5s. He's led a total of 53 laps this season, and his average start is 15.5, 15 and a half. So let's just say 15. His average finish is 17. All right. If we compare that to Chase Briscoe, who's another popular driver, 16 in the rankings, 275 points, 13 races, 4 top 10s, 3 top 5s. He's had 1 DNF, led 115 laps. And Eric Almirola he's ranked 26th, 3 DNFs, 1 top 10, laps led 44. Now, when you start getting up to something like Chase Elliott, let's do Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott is one of the most popular drivers in NASCAR. 28 rank. He's had 7 races, 4 top 10s, 2 top 5s, led 24 laps, average start 20, average finish 11th. So now when you look at somebody like Kyle Busch, I can't stand Kyle Busch. He's 11th, but think about him. He's 11th. He's had 2 wins this season, 6 top 10s, 3 top 5s, 3 DNFs, led 75 total laps. His average start is 12th, and his average finish is 14th. So when you talk about the drivers in the sport, Bubba Wallace is talented. He's right there in the pack. He is in contention for winning races. He's good at the super speedways.
Yeah.
And so
but he's an idiot.
Well, but that's the thing though. Like if he like Kyle Busch, I don't like Kyle Busch. I think Kyle Busch is a jerk. He treats reporters like crap. He acts like other drivers shouldn't be on the track. He thinks he's the only guy that should be out there. I don't like him. I don't like to watch his interviews. I don't follow him on any of the socials at all.
Right.
But I cannot deny that the dude is a freaking machine. He can drive the wheels off anything. He has had championship after championship, win after win. The dude he's going to go down in history as one of the greatest drivers in NASCAR. Right. I can acknowledge that. All right. Bubba, I can acknowledge that the dude is a talented driver. Right. I don't like his attitude. I think he's a bit of a jerk.
Right.
But here's the difference, Aaron. Time out. What you just said about Kyle Busch, and even whether you meant to or not, the way that you just equated that same statement to Bubba Wallace, you even softened your approach on that. And that's because I believe that's because of the culturalness of us where, well, because he's black, you can't say it the same way you would say that Kyle Busch is being a jerk. Bubba Wallace he's a good guy, but
no,
I don't like his attitude. I'm not saying
that.
You do. I'm just saying in general. I'm not saying that's. I'm saying that people are afraid to come out and say, "Yeah, Bubba Wallace is a jerk. He's an idiot. He can drive. Go drive." But guess what? He's an idiot.
No, he's got a bad attitude.
They all a lot of
okay. Do. So in my general capacity to put my foot in my mouth, which you both know I do quite often, in my capacity as a manager / supervisor, I do that as well. And I've made comments, but every time it has come back to me in a quote unquote Department of Unemployment type way, I have yet to lose a hearing. Really. I've yet to lose a hearing. So I do think there is a lot out there of people, that claim things, that things you say are taken a certain way, or that claim that you can't say that, or, like that they were fired for a certain reason, or that she said this to me and it was offensive and whatever. I still, when they come right down to it, when you are put, and in those situations, it's trying to defend yourself with questions. It's like playing Jeopardy. I don't know if you've ever been on an unemployment hearing, but everything you pose to the judge, right? Everything you say has to be in the form of a question, even when you're so it's very difficult to defend yourself. But I'm not afraid to call a spade, so to speak.
Wow, that just went kind of racist, didn't it? I'm just kidding.
Have been the best statement to make. I think you just
no, and that's in response to like Watson's comment too, like respect my peoples. Like I'm saying, like we can't be afraid to say it how it is.
Exactly.
I have a challenge for you, Erica. What? Can you read Watson's comment and be any more white?
Probably not, but I'm okay with that. I did my best. Respect my peoples.
You were like,
I don't
I
know.
respect my.
I can top it. I actually looked up Beta Spec to find out if it was a person.
Oh shit! At least I knew what he meant. God, man,
Dude, even
Jeez.
I knew what he meant, man.
I knew what he meant.
He's like, who's Beta Spec? Is that Bubba Wallace's crew chief?
Is that a rapper? Oh my God, Bryan! No.
I'm just being honest.
is-
Okay, I had to
that
look it up. I'm
is
like, what the crap are you
fantastic.
talking about? Who's Beta
Tell
Spec?
me you're white
Beta
without
Spec.
telling me you're white. Who's Beta Spec?
Hey Google, who's Beta Spec?
Oh, that's amazing! Thank you.
And Bryan, there's some things you got to learn. You don't say unless you want to just get eaten alive.
No, I that's why I was trying to take the heat off Erica because I was totally white on that one. I was like, Beta Spec.
And by the way, eaten
You didn't
alive
have
is
to
not a
take the
person.
heat. Please don't try to take the heat off me. I didn't say that. I said that full well knowing that I was making a comment that could have been taken the wrong way. But based on the general conversation we were having, everybody knew. And if you don't, then you're the one with the sensitivity problem, and that isn't my problem.
And that's not because you're fat, Bryan.
No,
I feel
it's just
better now.
because you looked up Beta Spec.
Well, yeah, I was like, who's Beta Spec? I don't know what that is.
Beta Spec is an agricultural expert.
Is an agricultural expert on wokeness studies in the concrete jungle.
Oh,
Bryan's gonna look
Watson,
that one up
can
too.
we
He's
write
like,
a
"Where's the
children's
concrete
book
jungle?"
with Beta Spec as the main character?
Oh, you just go to Chat GPT and write a story about Beta Spec,
Right?
an agricultural expert on wokeness.
Oh
That
my
is
gosh! Here we go. You ready?
fantastic.
Oh man, alive! That's great.
Wow.
But anyway, yeah. So the whole Bubba Wallace thing, it is now after he got out of his car, though. The big thing about it too is that he flipped off all of America that was watching because but people don't know why he did it, who he was. But he's not going to face any discipline from it, which is fine. I mean, it's athletes, it's people. Like I don't care, about personalities and all that stuff. I'm in it to learn about the technical aspects of racing. I'm in it to learn about racing and watch it and enjoy it, which is why I do it. I listen to NASCAR radio. I listen to the NASCAR races. I watch them. I enjoy them. They're fun. And that's the sport. That's the sport I like.
And that's the sport I like.
And that's the sport I like. Beta Spec out.
And
on
as
that
we
note, I
speak,
do have to go.
GPT is blowing it up.
Oh my God, I can't.
Oh man, we have a new character. We have a new man. Beta Spec is our new character on the mascot.
And I've got a full backstory right here for you, Aaron. I'll just make sure you get it here real quick. Yeah,
you should send that to me.
I will.
All right, gentlemen, please have a great week. I'm going to be filled with activity. Live software on June 1st. My daughter graduates on Wednesday night at 7. I've got sets of parents in town and people all over the place. So
it's
here we
a
go.
weird night
Here
for
we go.
graduation.
Here we go. Hang on. This is going in the comments right now. Y'all ready? Here you go.
You're putting an entire story in the comments.
Nope. I'm just putting a statement in there. Hang on.
Oh gosh, Erica, congratulations to your daughter.
Yeah.
And how did prom go, by the way? Did it go okay?
Really well. Yeah, nothing like having the boyfriend in town for a week, right? It's been a busy month. I probably should attribute part of my the effects of my scripture reading on the fact that my stress levels are probably maxed out in addition to that. So maybe not the best time, but I think it's like having kids. If you try to wait till you can or you're ready for it, you'll never do it, right?
Exactly. Before you go, here we go. Beta Spec's contributions to the field of urban agriculture and wokeness studies have left an indelible mark on society.
Oh
Their
my God.
tireless efforts to have inspired countless individuals to engage in sustainable practices, community activism, and the pursuit of social justice.
Wow.
And there's only like 17 paragraphs in there. Recognized for their remarkable achievements, Beta Spec has received numerous awards and accolades for the groundbreaking work. They have been invited to deliver keynote speeches at prestigious conferences, publish influential research papers, and serve as a consultant for urban development projects around the world.
Wow. That is so awesome.
That's crazy.
Oh
my God.
Watson, I'm sending it to you so you can read it all and tell me if this is the person that you're talking
Is this who we're talking about? Beta Spec?
Make sure we have the right Beta Spec, because if this is the wrong one,
yeah,
we don't want to be calling people outside their name now. Okay.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, so now you just know this is a thing. So
Oh my God. All
That
right.
is hilarious. All right,
I will
Erica.
talk to you guys soon. Have a good week.
You too. Thanks again for everything. Have a great one.
Bye, everybody.
bye.
Brian, you want to hang out here for a few more minutes?
Yeah, I can do that. Yep.
Yeah, me too. I don't think there's no big plan today for us. We're just we're still getting over the vacation blues. Everybody's coming back and coming down off the high, being on vacation, which was a lot of fun. To be honest with you, it was a lot of fun being on that.
I would imagine that I'm going to say this. I've been told time and time again that you never really understand the full value of a boat until you've been on one. I would imagine the same thing about a cruise, because I would love to be on a cruise. Years and years and years ago, when my dad was still alive, my family went on a cruise. Maybe it was right after Dad passed away. My mom and sister. Anyways, I was supposed to be on that cruise, and I got called into work and they would not let me go. They like rejected my time off or whatever.
No way.
Yeah, so I missed it. But anyway,
yeah, they're so this I didn't get a chance to cover this story, but a Louisiana teen. I'm going to share this real quick with everybody so we can see it while we're talking about it. A Louisiana teen is missing after jumping overboard on a dare on Bahamas Sunset Cruise. An 18-year-old boy from Louisiana was celebrating his recent high school graduation during a sunset cruise in the Bahamas Wednesday when he reportedly jumped overboard on a dare, triggering a large-scale search. Cameron Robbins, who graduated from University Laboratory School in Baton Rouge this past Sunday, was on a trip in the Bahamas with students from several local high schools. And on Wednesday evening, just 4 hours after their arrival, Robbins and his friends went on a sunset party cruise. According to witnesses, around 9:40 p.m., the 18-year-old, who was apparently acting on a dare, took a plunge off the boat into the ocean near Atoll Island. Robbins was last seen splashing in the dark waters a few feet from the boat before vanishing from view. Now, I don't think that this was like one of those, I guess like a sunset cruise is not like a big ship, like a big cruise ship, I guess. But the fact that he jumped over on a dare, we were on the 10th floor. Yeah, we were on the 10th floor. And then I don't know how many levels below us there were, as far as like ground level, and then below that, how much of the boat was the ship was actually underwater. But anyway, we were pretty high up, and I was looking over the balcony. I was like, if somebody were to jump in these waters, we were going about 24 knots. That's about 30 something miles an hour, about 30 miles an hour or so, I think. If you were to jump off, you would be left in the dust or in the waves before anybody would know or be able to report. By the time they turned around, it's not very possible. You're going to be gone.
Yeah. So just for those that are listening, a knot is 1.151 points of a mph or miles per hour. So 24 knots is 27.6 miles per hour. But even with that, I mean, that's still. Can you imagine something that moves that ship at any speed, or that boat at any speed? The amount of undertow that the props are going to cause if you get anywhere near them.
Oh, there he is right there. There's footage of him, or a picture of him swimming right there. So it doesn't look like it's a huge cruise ship. It looks like
it looks like
smaller.
It's probably two or three levels tall. Yeah, and a lot of that, as far as how much of the boat is underwater, depends on the size of the ship, of course. But some of those are 3, 4, 5 stories underwater.
Yeah, we were on the Norwegian Escape.
What is it called?
The Norwegian Escape. So I'll show a picture here. The side of the ship actually was painted by Guy Harvey. So here it is right here. This
says that there's only it's only about 30 feet in draft.
No way.
Maybe 2 stories?
I guess because of the width, because it's so wide.
Possibly, yeah. Possibly.
Here's a picture of it out in the open waters.
That's a beautiful boat, man.
Yeah, we were down here is...
It's like a hotel on the water.
It's a city. It is a city on the water, man. Up here, this is a water park in the middle of here. This up here is like for premium people that are paying like a boatload of money to stay in these cabins here.
A boatload.
Yeah. Get it? And there's a pool here, which was horrible. We didn't go to the pool. There's a big screen TV up there for people to watch. This is a ropes course where you actually zip line over the water over here.
Nice.
There's a mini golf course, a basketball court, all kinds of food, all kinds of restaurants.
Now, wait a minute. Why did you not go on the pool? What was wrong with the pool?
It was first mainly because it was absolutely packed.
Okay.
Like people weren't swimming. They were just sitting on the side of the pool, and it was hundreds and hundreds of people.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I would have gone to the pool had it been nice. There was back here in the aft, there was a section over here in this area towards it was on the very back, and it was during the day. It's called Spice H2O. During the day, it's adult only.
Okay.
And there is what do they call it? Oh man, I totally lost the word. Grotto. There's a grotto that you walk through, and that just has fountain water just pouring down on you. It looks like stone and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We did go there and hung out there for a little bit. My wife and I did during the adult only time.
I love grottos.
And yeah, it was amazing. There wasn't a lot of people there at that time because we also waited until there were excursions before we did that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like we got to Honduras. We went out to Honduras. We got to hold a sloth. There's a bunch of amazing things we did. But did
you get any good cigars?
I did. In Honduras, I bought some cigars, and they're in my bag. I'm going to enjoy one of my parents tomorrow with some mojitos and maybe some margaritas, and just relax with them because I've got to see them a couple weeks because of everything that's been going on. Yeah, I mean, they were knockoffs. I knew they were knockoffs when I bought them. But I was like, there was a humidor on the ship and a cigar lounge. And actually, let me see here. A Norwegian Escape humidor. Humidor. Gosh,
easy for you to spell, huh?
Yeah, for real. Here's what it looked like. Somebody took a picture from the outside. I have a picture on my phone. I just don't have it up. There was a very small humidor here. They had some Arturo Fuentes. They also had some Gurkhas. And then this is another shot of it. And it was really nice. I hung out there, got to talk to a few people. Here's the front door to it. And there was no cigarette smoking in there, which is really nice. So it wasn't very crowded when you went there. And
a lot of people who enjoy cigars will absolutely detest cigarettes. It's a completely different aroma.
Oh yeah. It's a totally different aroma.
Yeah.
But it was really enjoyable. We had a good time on there. And I know Jamie said I'd never been on a cruise. And I ain't planning on it. Those things creep me out. Honestly, I was mainly concerned about the amount of people. That's what I was mainly concerned about. But on excursion days, when most of the people got off, we didn't do paid excursions. We did go out into the ports, which was also because we were able to go to some of the countries there and be in those other countries. But the one we did, we went to Cozumel, Allison and I did. But when people left the ship, the food lines obviously were much faster places. It was just nice with people off the ship. Sea days like Monday and Saturday. Oh boy, it was nuts. So,
wow.
Yeah, Debbie's back in the chat room. Hey, Debbie, glad graduation went okay for you. Erica dropped something in the chat here. I wonder if she's in the bathroom too. Erica, are you in the bathroom? What? Check this story out. This is from Not the Bee. 2-year-old sentenced to life in prison with family after North Korean stormtroopers discover parents' Bible. A new State Department report from the Office of International Religious Freedom on the cruelty of North Korean authorities shows how brutal the regime is, noting that 70,000 Christians are in prison camps for the crime of believing in Jesus Christ. In one unbelievable case, authorities sentenced a 2-year-old child to life in prison with his or her family. The Department of State, pulling from information collected by NGOs, noted that an entire family, including their 2-year-old child, was in prison following the discovery of their religious practices and possession of a Bible. The family, which is most likely targeted by the Ministry of State Security that handles roughly 90% of these cases, was sentenced to life in prison. Inside the prison camps where prisoners are starved, beaten, raped, and worked to death. The situation is dire. A report from the NGO Korea Future documented a shocking incident in which a man caught praying was nearly beaten to death by guards. North Korea, like all dystopian states, says it respects religious liberty in its official laws. It states freedom of religion is allowed and provided by state law within the limit necessary for securing social order, health, social security, morality, and other human rights. In reality, North Korea has a government-imposed religion that mixes Marxist atheism with the deification of its supreme leaders, who are regarded as extraordinary beings. Anyone who defies this state religion, especially the Christians who have continued to grow in numbers post-World War II, is deemed a hostile class. Another incident involving a Korean Workers' Party member who was found with a Bible, taken by authorities out to an airfield, and executed before a crowd of thousands. Wow. There is something about the Bible in the name of Jesus that makes demonic strongholds seethe. They cannot stand it. It is a weapon like no other. Man alive, that is crazy. That is crazy.
You know, the sad part about it, Aaron, is, and not, I don't mean to dismiss people's comments like Jamie when she says that will be here soon. I think that the American experiment is never going to let that happen. There are too many people with independent thinking. There are too many people that are going to stand up. There are too many people who will stand against it. And I've heard people say, well, the church, like you, I had a guy tell me one time, he's like, well, you're a pastor now. He said, but I don't believe in an organized church because in a few years, that's going to be outlawed. Try me.
Well, I mean, whether or not
around and find out, people, that's what I'm saying. I don't think that's ever going to make it here. I could be wrong.
So you don't think, I mean, you don't think that we're ever going to be to a point where we're going to be imprisoned for our faith here in the United States?
I do not think that it's ever going to get to that extent. I believe that we already are seeing some imprisonments. I'm not saying that doesn't exist, but there's usually some backstories to that are not. It's not always what it seems to be. Okay. Like, we used to talk about the guys out in California who are being put in prison because they quote unquote read the Bible about homosexuality. That wasn't the truth. That was not the way that story went down. Yes, they did start by reading the Bible about homosexuality, but that is not what caused them to go
to jail.
What caused them to go to jail was their belligerence when the police showed up. And their
I don't think that they were belligerent. I think you may be mixing this up with something.
I'll have to look the story up, but I remember that there was other extenuating circumstances that I think added to their issue. That's my thoughts.
You're going to have, I don't think that they were belligerent. I think that there were a lot of people that there was one in particular host that is more of the submit to authority type belief that was fine with the reaction of those folks. So the video that I'm thinking of, there were, we're going to have to figure that one out. Cause I'm not sure. I think it eventually will lead to that potentially. Yeah, I think that. But I mean, then you got to think about the United States in Bible prophecy doesn't even exist. Is it even?
Well,
there?
No, I agree with that. But I think that there will be places, pockets like the West Coast or the left coast, as you would call it, or even some of the extreme far East Coast, where in New York City or some of these places you're going to see that. But I think for the most part, the middle of America is not going to stand for that for very long. I could be wrong, but I don't think we're ever going to get to that. Well, okay. I don't think we're going to see it in my lifetime. So I'm 48 years old. So I don't think we're going to see it in the next 50 years. I could be dead wrong, but I don't think so.
Interesting. Very interesting. All right, folks. Well, hey, I think we're going to call it quits. Thank you all so very much for joining us in the chat. Don't forget to share the show, like and smash that share and like button over there. And make sure you tell everybody about the program as well. Share it on your social medias, tweet it out, etc. And I am very, very pleased with everybody joining us back on this, considering the fact we were off for a week. Thanks for your patience as well. Lord willing, we will be back next week. at the same bat time, same bat channel, talking about the same batty topics. So until next time, make Christ supremely valuable.